Reese, thanks very much as we welcome you to Blacksburg. Even in a down year for the Hokies, it is always rocking here at Lane Stadium as Virginia Tech took the field a moment ago. The Hokies trying to play spoiler because everything is on the line for the Hurricanes these last 2 weeks of the season. The Canes must sweep their last 2 games, and they probably have to do so convincingly to make the college football playoff. As we welcome you to ESPN College Football, presented by ServPro. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. It is about as simple as it gets for the Canes. If they win, they are still alive for the 12-team college football playoff. If they lose, their hopes are off to Never Never Land. We will see what happens, and we'll kick it off in a moment. Bob Wischusen here with Lewis Riddick. Chris Budden is with us as well. And Lewis, the table is as clearly set as it could be for UM.
Yeah, I think for them, look, it's about winning, and it's about winning impressively. And I think, look, Mario Cristobal really gave us some insight. He let us in on kind of some of the messaging that he used with his coaching staff. And he said, hey, look, if we want this football team to cut it loose, we as coaches have to cut it loose, meaning we have to set the table for them. And I think you're going to see that here today. You're going to see a team that's going to play fast. They're going to play free. They're going to push the ball down the field offensively. You already know they have one of the best defenses in the country with 2 of the most absolute game-wrecking defensive ends that we see in college football. So I think altogether, they understand what they're up against here, Bob. They understand that style points matter in this football game, and they're going to need to put on a show here today.
And they've got the horses to do it.
There's no question about it. I mean, the 2 guys on your screen, offensively, Malachi Toney, one of the most dynamic freshmen in all of college football. He is not just a receiving threat. He's a former high school quarterback now, so you have to really account for him as a dual threat. And Ruben Bain Jr., I mean, what more can you say about him along with his running mate, Akeem Mesidor? These guys are quintessential pro prospects that are built low to the ground, tons of power. They're coached by the Hall of Famer, Jason Taylor, who I watched him warm up these guys down on the field. They are ready to go. This is going to be a fun matchup to watch for the next 3 hours.
In what has also been for Virginia Tech a very strange week, but a week about the future with the hiring of James Franklin, and still this coaching staff and this team with 2 games to play, the Hokies as well.
Yeah, I mean, how uncomfortable of a situation it is for the players, for the coaches, knowing that their futures are just so uncertain as far as what the new staff is going to be looking for when they come in, who's going to be retained, who's going to be walked out the door. But I'll tell you what, you throw on the tape of Virginia Tech over the past couple of weeks, well, really since Phil Montgomery took over, there has been no quit, no let up whatsoever. I don't expect it to look any different here today.
It's a stiff breeze here in Blacksburg, so much so that the ball needs to be held for Kyle Lowe, who will send a deep. Keelan Marion back to receive. And if this gets caught up in the breeze, it might be returnable. No, it's going to end up in the end zone. And Chris Budden, it's been a roller coaster of emotions for Miami and Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, he described that 3-week period where they lost 2 games as gut-wrenching because this team knows how good it is. And those 2 losses, so much of it was self-inflicted wounds, whether it was the penalties or the turnovers. But what he's most proud about this team is that they didn't wallow and they didn't let this season get away from them. Instead, they put their head down and they got back to work. And he said the one other thing is we're being remembered in November, and that's all you can really ask for.
They are right on the bubble. Maybe they shouldn't be. That's something we'll certainly talk about as this game continues. Gerard Pringle motions out of the backfield. And the first handoff, Elijah Lofton. A tight end handoff to begin the game. And a 4-yard gain. Carson Beck, he is way at the top of the FBS rankings in completion percentage. 2nd overall at 73%, but still 9 interceptions, Lewis, as well.
Yeah, that's to make sure that he takes care of the football. Really plays with good mechanics when he's in the pocket, which is where he likes to stay, although they've encouraged him to use his legs and be creative outside the pocket as well.
Looked like Beck checked to a run play, and Gerard Pringle is about 3 yards short of a first down. Well, the ball, to be 73%, Lewis, I guess doesn't go downfield quite as often as you would think.
Yeah, look, they really do utilize the short passing game here with this offense led by offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson. As you see, only 7 yards average distance from the line of scrimmage. He's not pushing it down the field. It's not because he can't, but they have dynamic playmakers once they get the ball in their hands as far as catch and run situations.
Mark Fletcher out on the field for the first time in a couple of weeks, returning from injury, and he is part of the blocking group for Keelan Marion, who gets the first down. So, to your point, a throw right at the line of scrimmage, and Beck is able to convert on third down.
Well, they had the numbers in their favor. It was only corner Isaiah Brown-Murray who was out there one-on-one trying to defend against 2 blockers, and then they got the ball quickly to Keelan Marion, who's one of their most dynamic players with the ball in his hands.
Play action, a little slip screen to Elijah Lofton. And he's only got a couple of yards. Tyson Flowers, back-to-back tackles. Caleb Woodson was there for the Hokies as well, as we take a look at today's impact players, brought to you by Mattress Firm.
You've got some great football players here today to keep an eye on. We already talked about Malachi Tony, the do-it-all dynamic freshman. Akeem Mesidor, 29 career sacks to his name already in college football. He's just fantastic. Takai Heath, he is someone that they really pointed out as being a dynamic playmaker for them offensively. And then Kamari Copeland, one of the best athletes in all of college football.
Tony in motion. Instead of handoff to another freshman, Gerard Pringle Jr. And he's got a first down to midfield. He made his first start last week. And now some pushing and shoving away from the play. Caleb Woodson, linebacker for Virginia Tech, a little shoving match.
How about this angle right here, the ref cam? That makes you feel like you're back in it. Like you're almost down there on the football field. You just see the size of this Miami offensive line. 6'6", 6'6", 6'6", across the board, 330 plus. It's just absolute monstrous men out there blocking for this power running game.
Back. Wide open, catch and run, Keelan Marion into the red zone.
Look, you're just going to see Keelan Marion to the left of your screen just run a deep over route, and you can see on the second level, no one even pays attention to him. It's just an easy throw and catch for Carson Beck. Those are the kind of mistakes for the Virginia Tech defense that they just cannot afford to make. The defensive coordinator, Sam Seifkes, has really simplified this defensive scheme with all the young players they have playing in the back end, so they don't have coverage mistakes like that. That's something they can't afford to have happen.
Gain of 32. Miami in striking distance already. Pringle bobbing his way to about the 15, getting a push. Picks up 3 yards. Miami's been pretty efficient when they get to the red zone in terms of converting into touchdowns. Top 20 in FBS in red zone touchdown percentage.
It comes down to decision making and accuracy when you're throwing the football. And then their power running game, their duo power running game, meaning they get just the big men, double teams at the point of attack. They've got hammers at the running back position. When you think about guys like Shamar Brown, Jordan Lyle, just really a strong, efficient football team down here inside the 20.
False start. A little flinch up front for Miami.
False start. Offense number 78. 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Well, Philip Montgomery told us we need to get them behind the sticks because the best that we have is our defensive line. That gives us a chance to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, it sure does. Look, Kamari Copeland and Kevin Gilliam, the 2 defensive tackles, are really 2 of their best players. With Kamari Copeland, number 13, being a guy that they will move around and try and get favorable matchups for him. He's going to have one of his best games to slow down this Miami passing attack.
Great protection for Beck. Lobs one right up the seam, and Elijah Lofton has a walk-in touchdown.
You're just going to see Elijah Lofton right here. He's going to take an outside release and then just bend it back to the middle of the field. A little switch release type of concept. You can see Virginia Tech playing a split safety type of scheme. Safety gets run out of there and gets occupied by the tight end. Elijah Lofton comes wide open in the middle of the field.
Two biggest pass plays, Lewis, on that drive, middle of the field against those safeties.
Yeah, you got to have rock solid communication. You cannot be turning guys loose against an offense like this that has the potential to explode on you at any time. That's an ideal start for the Miami Hurricanes.
We are back with today's proven performance brought to you by Goodyear, Louis Riddick's Keys.
Yeah, I think for Miami offensively, no pre-snap penalties. Just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't be your own worst enemy. That's a nice start for the offense as far as them getting down the field and cashing in with 6. Defensively for Virginia Tech, allowed less than 100 rush yards. They have to make sure that they put this game in Carson Beck's hands and don't allow them to just run the football down their throat. Now that V-Tech is on offense, they have to have 4 plays of 20-plus yards in this game. I say that's just 1 a quarter. They have to create some explosives. It's just too hard to go the length of the field against a defense as strong as Miami's. And for Miami's defense, they must dominate on first down and put this game in the hands of Kyron Drones, because if that's the case, then their pass rush can really get on track.
Into the wind, and P.J. Prelo with a chance for a return, but he runs into a wall of white and orange. Short of the 25-yard line, and a little something extra at the end of the play. Looks like it might cost the Canes 15 yards.
I don't think there's any question that Miami is going to try and play this game right on the edge.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team number 16. The 15-yard penalty is added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
Well, this one puts them over the edge.
As you can see, the coverage team, whistle's probably blown. You just cannot do anything that potentially crosses the line and hurts your football team. I think they know they need to go ahead and try and string together an impressive performance. They just cannot afford to hurt themselves.
It was Jabari Antoine that was called for the penalty, but it was a gang tackle, and Marcellus Hawkins down the sideline. The jet sweep works to perfection, and a chunk play in the run game to start for the Hokies. 1st and 10 at the Miami 28.
Look, Marcellus Hawkins has been doing this all season long. Immediately, they're able to get out on the perimeter of the Miami run defense. And Marcellus Hawkins shows you why. He has 21 runs this year of 10-plus, 11 of 15-plus. He is explosive. He is powerful in his lower body. And you better have your run principles intact against him.
Gets it again. Flag down. He's got 8 yards if the play were to stand, but it looks like it's coming back.
Holding. Offense number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That is Kyle Altuner, the center, as it has been at least some stability on the offensive line for Virginia Tech of late.
You're going to see Altuner right here in the center of your screen. The coaching staff here at Virginia Tech has been very pleased with the way he has played. Again, he just kind of loses leverage on Ahmad Moten and starts to lose him. What a great view this. I mean, this guy gives me goosebumps just looking at this. I may actually feel like I'm down there actually playing the game. And he just kind of loses leverage on the nose tackle and grabs him at the end. But this defensive line, it is as good as there is in the country.
Drones on a rollout. To the sideline. Catch is made. To Kai Heath. Did he get a foot down? He did. That's a gain of 14 to make it 2nd and very manageable.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a great route by Takai Heath. He's just so twitchy, meaning his feet are so fast coming off the line of scrimmage. As we take a look at Kyron Drones, who Phil Montgomery has nothing but confidence in him. He said, look, in many ways, he feels as though the pass protection in the overall offense from a passing standpoint may have let him down a little bit. This guy has put in a lot of work. They've become a running offense, but he still has confidence in him throwing the football.
Drones up the middle, 2 yards short of the first down. So now a 3rd down and 2 for an offense that's essentially, Lewis, become triple option.
Right. Yeah, it is. I mean, at 235 pounds, Kyron Drones is like having another running back out there. I mean, for the season, you know, he's already rushed for 578 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. And as you see Phil Montgomery there, it has become triple option. And Kyron is very good at making decisions in the run game. When to go ahead and hand it off, when to pitch it, when to run it himself.
Keeps it and has the first down. Gets an extra push. He's tough to bring down. 235-pound quarterback on the keeper. And it's a first down at the 13.
I mean, that's like a zone read follow where they have two blockers in front of him. Benji Gosnell, the tight end. You've got number 8, Terrian Stewart, who are kind of leading up through the hole, and he just follows them through there. I mean, you're talking, that's a lot of body mass coming downhill on you with a quarterback who's 6'2", 235. This Miami run defense is the best in college football. They're not used to getting pushed around here, but right now, Virginia Tech, this is strength on strength. This is what Virginia Tech does well, and what Miami has absolutely been lights out with all season long.
Screen. A little tunnel screen for Aiden Green, and not much there. Behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 11 as Mo Toure made the stop. Not many trips to the red zone so far this year for Virginia Tech.
But when they've been down there, they've been pretty decent considering the overall struggles that this offense has had. And generally, you see offenses that have quarterbacks that are dual threats that can really make it true 11-on-11 football. They have more success than teams that don't have those dual threat quarterbacks. And Kyron Jones has to be at his best here now.
Terrion Stewart cuts back and meets Wesley Basaint near the original line of scrimmage. So he might have gotten that yard back. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Wesley Basaint.
And Basaint's hurt. They just got him back.
For an injury. Timeout on the field.
Seem to be holding that left shoulder. We've got an injury timeout here in Blacksburg.
Football is presented by ServPro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration, and in part by IHG Hotels and Resorts.
James Franklin already introduced as the new head coach at Virginia Tech. We take a look at today's More Than a Home team, brought to you by Cracker Barrel. And even with 2 games left in the regular season, Lewis, they knew who their man was and they went after him.
Yeah, they sure do. And look, or they sure did. And he's someone who's going to infuse this place with a lot of true competency in terms of being able to build a program, understanding the kind of players he wants to recruit, and then implementing a system as far as development and then strategy on game day that I think they're going to be very proud of. He seems really fired up. Can't wait to get a chance to talk to him.
He's going to come up to the booth in the 2nd quarter. So we'll have a chance to talk to Coach Franklin. 3rd down and 10 in the red zone. Drones breaks a tackle, keeps the play alive, avoids the sack, but has to throw it away and gets hit near the line of scrimmage. Justin Scott got through first. He was eventually chased out by Armando Blunt. No flag comes out, so it will be a field goal try to get the Hokies on the board.
You see the strength of Kyron Drones. You said Justin Scott. He immediately had gotten immediate pressure on the outside edge of the left guard. Kyron Drones able to make the best out of a bad situation and not take a sack. But this defense, that's the way this Miami defensive front hunts. You have to eliminate the number of negative plays that they can force. Nice job by Kyron Drones.
With the wind, Love from 30 yards away puts it through. It's only the 3rd time this season that Virginia Tech has scored points on their opening drive. But Miami gets a stop in the red zone to hold on to the lead, and you can kick off your NFL Sunday with the Countdown Crew on ESPN at 10 Eastern tomorrow. They will have live reports from Kansas City before Colts Chiefs. And then Monday Night Football features the 49ers hosting the Panthers at 8 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, the ESPN app. Peyton and Eli once again on ESPN2, and the Niners and Panthers both right in the thick of the playoff race, if not the wild card race in the NFC. Both trying for a division title, and both could end up in the postseason as wild cards. So Carson Beck set to go back to work.
I think you're Virginia Tech on this defensive series. You've got to make sure you shore up the communication in the back end. You cannot be vacating the middle of the field, which are the easiest throws theoretically for a quarterback. You want to defend inside out. You want to attack inside out as an offense. So their safeties have to be on it. Cannot have it be as easy as it was for Carson Beck on that first series, as we're going to take a look at here on their last drive. Immediately they start off the game vacating the middle of the field, and Keelan Marion has an easy throw and catch. And then on the touchdown, they just run a little bit of a switch concept against a cover 4 look, influence the safety to take the corner out, and then Elijah Lofton, the tight end, comes in behind him on the post. You can't start any better than that for Carson Beck. 4 for 4, 61 yards and a touchdown. There's really nothing that Miami did that was just so extraordinary. You just have to be better with your communication defensively.
Malachi Tony's first touch. Virginia Tech bottles him up. It's a 5-yard gain. Boy, talk about an impact true freshman. #1 in FBS for true freshmen in receptions and yards.
He is just lightning in a bottle, and he's one of the most mature players on this football team. You turn on the tape, you can see him lining up other guys who have 2 or 3 more years experience than him. He is that locked into this offense, and he is someone that is going to be one of the best players to play at this university, I believe, when it's all said and done.
Looked pretty good throwing it last week, too. Gerard Pringle just short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and a half yard. Kamari Copeland made the stop. We talked about how tough of a week this has been for Virginia Tech, but you said it, you've been watching the tape. This team shows no let up in spite of the fact that they've been through all this turmoil.
Yeah, that just speaks to their competitive character and the job of the coaching staff of keeping these guys locked in, both mentally and physically, keeping them fresh so they can come out on the football field and give their best performance.
Another jet sweep. Tony's got the first down. Now look, you said that you had personal experience with a coach being fired or, you know, chaos during a regular season in the pros, and your team didn't react the same way Virginia Tech has.
Yeah, no question. And look, in 1995, when I was with the Cleveland Browns and they announced the move with the franchise going to Baltimore, we had a really good football team coming off of a playoff year the year before. And as soon as that announcement was made, our season cratered. Guys really just started drifting, didn't drill down on the details, and the season ended miserably. And we were professionals getting paid to do a job. These are 18 to 22-year-old kids. And for them to still be locked in like they are is amazing.
Back out of the pocket. Down the sideline, Tony comes back, helps out his quarterback, and makes the catch inside the 40-yard line.
That's a nice job by Carson Beck of, again, creating outside the pocket. First and second read isn't there. You see him just move to his left, get his hips and shoulders square, and find Malachi Tony streaking down the sideline. That's exactly what Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, wants out of Carson Beck.
Pringle for 5 yards.
The freshman Gerard Pringle, he gives them that extra component that they've been looking for. But the coaching staff said that they could see it in practice. They could see the kind of juice he brought. They wanted to just make sure he would be solid in pass protection as far as his assignments were concerned. And after that, they had no hesitation giving him his first start a week ago. And here you see him again, an integral part of this game plan here today.
And Malachi Tony lines up to take the direct snap. Have your antennas up here if you're Virginia Tech, and they were ready for it. It's only a gain of a yard on the zone read as Ace Stevens brought down Malachi Tony to force 3rd down and about 6.
That is a heck of a play by Stevens, playing a little bit of a surf technique as Malachi is just riding that ball in the belly of Gerard Pringle and then pulls it and then makes the tackle. You're not making a tackle against any old body. I mean, that's Malachi Tony now. And here they got a big 3rd down, a chance to get off the football field. Looks like they're going to go a little bit of man coverage, maybe a zero blitz type of situation, trying to heat Carson back up a little bit.
Lofton in motion. They're going to try and run as Fletcher pounds his way to about the 30-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 31. So now it's 4th down and 3. Also going in this direction into a very stiff breeze. So this probably add about 5 to 10 yards in terms of the distance of the field goal to account for the win. So they're going for it.
You see they got their big back to hammer. Mark Fletcher, 6'2", 225 pounds in the backfield, but they're in gun. Harder to run out of this kind of formation, or are they going to put the ball up in the air?
4-man rush for Virginia Tech, and instead it's Malachi Tony. A little button hook for the first down.
There you go, Malachi Toney. This against this zone coverage, against this split safety look. He's just one-on-one with that hook curl defender. And when you have a little bit of space in between you and a guy like Malachi Toney, it's just so hard to get him on the ground. More times than not, he's going to make the first guy miss. You could tell by formation that they were probably going to throw that football. Got to get your pattern matches very quickly against this dynamic offense on the perimeter.
He can be a video game out there. And he's getting a break for this play. Beck steps up in the pocket. This time he's going to run. Slides to the 15-yard line. They'll actually mark him down at the 16, so a gain of 4.
Did a nice job by Carson Beck. Doesn't see what he likes. They run a little bit of a simulated pressure, meaning they're going to send a guy from the second level, but they're still only going to rush with 4 and cover with 7 in the back end. He decides to pull it down and just get some positive yardage. That's the continuous growth that you're seeing out of Carson Beck. Exactly what Shannon Dawson is looking for.
Only a 3-yard gain, so 2nd and 7. And Malachi Toney now to the top of your screen, and he'll go in motion. Fletcher. Now check that back on the keeper.
Even fooled
I
you,
was
Bob,
fooled.
didn't
It's going to be 3rd down and 1.
That is not what you're expecting if you're Virginia Tech. You're not expecting Carson Beck to put this ball in the belly of his 225-pound hammer of a running back, but then pull it. But that is exactly what Antoine Santiago thought was happening. And he chases Fletcher, and Carson Beck just pulls it and picks up a nice gain.
I feel Antoine's pain. I got fooled too. End of the first quarter. Miami in striking distance.
Welcome back, joined with Mario Cristobal. You've been able to move the ball pretty well on offense. What have you liked from that side of the ball so far?
We've been really efficient. We've been blocking them well up front. They have really good defensive players, and you have to control the line of scrimmage because they've got a great running game. They showed it already.
Appreciate it.
We spoke with Mario Cristobal this week, and Lewis, he didn't really make much mystery about knowing what Miami has to do and how they have to look doing it.
Yeah, no question. He knows they have to be efficient. Don't shoot themselves in the foot. Don't be their own worst enemy. You get down here inside the red area, you have to make great decisions. Don't turn the football over. They have to play a complete game, Bob. I mean, they're hunting for inclusion in the CFP. Every down counts.
3rd down and 1. This time Mark Fletcher does have the football. And he also has a 1st down to the 9. So it's 1st and goal for the U.
Mark Fletcher on the carry.
And that's just that big size, lower body power of Mark Fletcher, 225 pounds. A combination of him and Shamar Brown, who goes 5'11", 220. They are the hammers, the speed, Jordan Lyle and Gerard Pringle. They have 4 backs that they can rotate through there and just give you fits with how they complement one another from a trait perspective.
Malachi Toney on another jet sweep to the 5-yard line.
Anytime Malachi Toney goes in motion, there's a high probability that he's going to be involved in the play. They don't move him in motion just to gather details or information from the defense. They're trying to get him in a certain position offensively to get him the football. And you see these little tap passes, jet sweeps to get him on the perimeter quickly. He's a master at them, because he's just so quick in the open field.
And Sam Siepkes told us there's not much information you have to gather from our defense, right? We've cut 50% of the playbook out to help an inexperienced back end. Fletcher inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. Thomas Williams tripped him up. So now it's 3rd down and goal from the 3.
That power running game, Miami just tries to wear you out with their offensive line. I mean, McCoy, the left guard, 325. Brockermeyer's the smallest guy, the center, 295. Inez Cooper, 345. Maui Noah, 335. Just massive up front. And they're going to test your will. And they're going to test the depth of your front 7.
2 tight ends. And a big running back in Mark Fletcher. There goes Toney in motion. A rollout for Beck. At the goal line. end zone as Fletcher, a receiving touchdown in his welcome back. And it's a 2-score lead for the U. He missed the last couple of games, and they are happy to have Mark Fletcher back.
You just see he just goes fast to the flat, and you just cannot allow him to out-leverage it. When you see the running back just make a beeline out to the flat as a corner, Thomas Williams, he gets his eyes caught in the backfield, wondering what Carson Beck is doing, and kind of gets out of sorts, gets out-leveraged. Carson able to just make a nice, easy throw for the touchdown. Things happen so fast. We say it all the time down here in the red area. You can't have any mistakes. Otherwise, it costs you for 6.
And talk about unexpected. Mark Fletcher, this is the 24th touchdown of his career, the first ever receiving.
They've missed him the past 2 weeks, but now they're getting healthy at the right time, and you're seeing it on the field.
Lane Stadium, a good start for Miami, but a brand new era of Virginia Tech football has now begun because James Franklin is the new head coach. Thanks so much for coming up, spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good to see you again, man.
Great to see
How you. Feel? You look good in this color. It looks nice.
The maroon brings out my eyes, they tell me.
I heard you say that earlier.
You know, there's a lot of movement in the world of college football, head coaching-wise, and your name could have been and probably was brought up with a lot of jobs, and yet you thought this marriage immediately was the right place for you and the right place for Virginia Tech. Why?
Well, I think the first thing is they were very aggressive from the beginning. They had a plan in place. It wasn't like, let's work through this together. They already had a plan in place, which I think was very helpful in the process. And at the end of the day, it's what you see around here. There's great passion and support for this place, has been for a long time. And now it's my job and our job to get this program back where everybody wants it to be.
James, one of the people who are responsible for the passion that exists around here is Coach Frank Beamer. And you made it a point to seek out his blessing before you accepted this job, which I thought was fascinating and I thought was really cool. Like, can you kind of explain like why that was so important to you to do that?
Well, I think it's the point you just made. First of all, I've gotten to know Coach Beamer for a long time on the Nike trip and just following his career, obviously. I got a ton of respect for what he's been able to do across his career, but also specifically, obviously, here at Virginia Tech. So I wanted to call him to pay respect, number one.
Right.
He built this program. Everybody loves him and his family. So I called my father-in-law, Sanya Allah, and asked for his blessing to marry his daughter. I've done it twice now. I called Frank Beamer. I said, Coach, I'm about to make this decision, and before I do, I want your blessing to make sure you would be comfortable with me taking over your program. And him and his wife were phenomenal. I called him 3 times. He didn't answer the phone. I called his wife.
You were starting to warn her?
Yeah, I called his wife. She answered, and then it was great.
Yeah, you know what? Team building in college football has changed. Look, you've gone through 2 different programs already and kind of resurrected them. What has changed from your time at Vanderbilt to Penn State to here as far as how to build up a modern-day, big-time FBS college football program? And is it different from place to place, from conference to conference? Like, what is that going to look like for you here?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is your point. In the last 5 years, college football has changed probably more so than the 75 years before it. So, you know, you could take lessons from Vanderbilt, and you could take lessons from Penn State, but the reality is all these places are unique and sophisticated, and you got to have a plan that makes sense. So I got to do a really good job of surrounding myself with people that have great institutional knowledge, great community knowledge, and then the reality is I got to get everybody to understand and embrace. I don't know if you guys want me to start talking.
Hey, I saw your face get real serious. You were like, okay, that looks pretty good right there. No, that's okay. It's all right, man.
I want everybody to embrace the new college football. And for a lot of places, they've struggled with it, right? It's so far into what people know. But the reality is when the industry changes in any industry, you got to be bold and aggressive in that industry, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, Kyron Drones and Marcellus Hawkins putting together a drive here for your Hokies, and it's continuing. Pretty good-looking freshman and Jeffrey Overton gets it to the 25-yard line. And you know what, Brent Pry, you really got emotional during your press conference when his name was brought up. Why?
Well, I'm a people person, right? And I've been doing this for a long time. Brent Pry's dad was my offensive coordinator in college. Brent's first year coaching was my senior year. So he means a lot to me, him and his family.
We're going to step aside quickly. We've got an injury timeout on the field. We'll come right back with Coach Franklin and this Virginia Tech drive. One for a score. ACC Defensive Back of the Week. They're already without Keontae Scott for the rest of the season as well. So a couple of safeties down for the Canes. And in business, Virginia Tech. And that's a tackle for loss. As thrown down is Jeffrey Overton, Bob Wischusen, Lewis Riddick, and James Franklin, kind enough to join us, the brand new head coach here at Virginia Tech. And the future of this program to you, the ceiling is what?
Well, obviously I'm still determining that, but I wouldn't have took the job if I didn't think we could do some very, very special things. That's based on the history, tradition. That's based on the location. That's based on the passion in the stadium. And that's also based on the investment that this university is now making.
Byron Drones on 3rd and 9. Out of the pocket. And a check down on the right flat. Hawkins. Close enough they might go for it. We'll see.
James, we've had some great conversations in the past in production meetings about what does it take to win in modern day football, high level football, whether it be FBS, whether it be in the NFL. And one of the things you had introduced me to and made me think about was the fact that you told me one time the wide receiver position, the ability to produce explosive plays is like priority #1 because of the way it can change games in one play. How are you looking at building this program? Like, what are your priorities when you're thinking about building a powerhouse program in 2026? What do you need?
Well, I also think part of it is where are you at? Sometimes when maybe you are in the South or the West Coast or in the Northeast, you have to build your program differently. If you're dealing with the snow, if you're dealing with the rain, the cold weather, that should factor into how you operate. But obviously, you see the weather here today. This is good because I don't have a whole lot of insulation on my head, and neither do you.
That's for sure.
So I'm enjoying that. But yeah, I think when you talk about the wide receiver position, no different than a corner. If you feel like you can lock people down at corner, it allows you to get an extra man in the box to defend people. No different on offense. If they are scared of your wide receivers and they got to remove a safety, it helps your run game. The other thing is a running back's typically going to have to make 2 to 3 guys miss or break tackles to go 80. A wideout, 1 or 2 guys make miss and go 80, and those guys can change the game like that.
I thought that conversation when we had that, I went back and I was thinking, man, he's got a great point right there. And you see it now. You see it reflected in the salaries that guys are making at the NFL level at wide receiver.
Correct.
And how some of the guys in, in college football, these young wide receivers are coming in and just taking the game by storm immediately.
Well, I think that's the other factor that I don't know if people truly understand. I mean, people that live the college football life understand it, but there's just such a wide gap in how people are operating now. This is not the 85 scholarships, right? You're talking about some programs with between $40 and $45 million in NIL rosters. You got other programs at 15, right? Yeah. So this is very different than the days of 85 scholarships. And for the most part, at least above the table, a level playing field.
I got you.
Miami gets the stop on downs. We're going to let you go and enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks a lot for the time. Appreciate it.
So bad.
Hey, it's pretty good, but you got about a decade or two to get down there and make a difference.
That's right.
Good to see you, Coach.
So
Absolutely.
Thanks a million.
Thanks, guys.
All righty.
And those are the two teams that Miami has lost to, playing each other. The U with a 14-3 lead, and Carson Beck, red hot, 10 for 10. He hit on his last 13 to close last week's game. So he is 23 for his last 23 from the end of the NC State game to today. Gerard Pringle out across the 25-yard line. He's got 4 yards.
But Carson Beck told us prior to the game against Syracuse, he thought his SMU game, minus the interceptions that he had in that game, one of them really bounced off the hands of the receiver, the other one a poor decision down inside the red area. He thought he had played his best game of the season and was really starting to settle into the offense. And offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson echoed that. Clearly, he has hit a level of comfort right now to where you are seeing him operate very efficiently in the pocket, moving outside the pocket, throwing on the move. He's in his zone and he's feeling it right now.
And thankful just to be playing and healthy after the UCL tear last year in the championship game in the SEC. He finds Keelan Marion, so that's 24 for his last 24. He ended up using the same surgeon out in California that did similar surgery on Shohei Ohtani a few years ago. So he was in good hands.
Yeah, his explanation as far as his journey from the time he had that UCL surgery to where he was actually able to throw on the football field was spectacular when we talked to him. And he said, hey, look, he's 100% healthy. He doesn't think about the arm, but he said it does feel different. It's not the same as it was before the surgery, but it isn't affecting him here over the past 2 weeks.
Flag thrown on the run by Pringle, and a rugby scrum for 4 yards. A couple of flags down.
Personal foul, illegal hands to the face, defense number 98, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Cody Heisman called for the personal foul.
You see him right there in the middle of your screen. You see the right hand just get up underneath the face mask of the offensive lineman. And a lot of times, look, it is an absolute fight in there. Play after play, and that was Matthew McCoy, the left guard who he's going against. That's not intentional. That's just part of the combat that happens. And Heisman has been an absolute playmaker for this football team. That interim head coach, Phil Montgomery, pointed out the fact that he's playing some good football.
Tony wants to throw it. He hit one last week, and he hits one again this week. A bullet underneath the Keelan Marion on the crosser.
How about the arm angle change by Malachi Tony? He was looking for the deep shot, and you're going to see him. He comes off of it. And Shannon Dawson told us, look, I'm just going to install more and more stuff every week for this young man to take advantage of his physical skills. But just look at him here. He's looking downfield, trying to hit the deep flag route. And there he just has to change the arm angle to get it past linebacker Caleb Woodson, number 20. You just love his enthusiasm for the game.
That is a young man that has fun playing football.
He's at Wildcat now.
Set to take the direct snap. Beck goes in motion. And he bulldozes his way with a push into the red zone. Boy, Malachi Tony, tough to bring down, Chris.
And for everything he provides on the field, Mario Cristobal told us that he might go down as one of the most impactful players Miami's ever had off the field. As a young freshman, has already set up a foundation to be able to provide things for the local community, as a drive going on right now for Thanksgiving to give back and give food, something that he said he was always appreciative when he was a young player. Pretty big statement from Coach Cristobal.
Well, Miami means something to him, a Liberty City native. And he's got the U set up 2nd down and 1. Pringle, that's a 1st down.
And how about the fact that he told us he wants to do all of this without receiving any special attention for it. He doesn't even want people to know, which is just tremendous awareness for someone as young as he is in this day and age where everyone does things for likes and for engagement. And to see how much influence and attention they can get in the public sphere. He wants this stuff to go on behind the scenes. He just wants to genuinely impact others' lives, which I thought was tremendous.
7th play of the drive. Miami's last drive, 14 plays, a touchdown, and 8.5 minutes off the clock. Here's Carson Beck. He's looking for the end zone again. It's broken up. Alex Bauman couldn't hold on. Thomas Williams timed it up perfectly.
Coaches always try to run plays, similar concepts, and make them look slightly different. They run that little downfield switch route again. And this time they throw the football to Bauman, who's running the 7 route, and they almost had the corner. They almost had Thomas Williams fooled, but he was able to come off and make a big hit and create the PBU.
And that breaks up the 24 completion streak for Carson Beck, his first miss today, although that was right on the money. Pringle. Inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line. Ben Bell, 5th-year senior defensive end, a super senior. Texas State transfer made the stop. So now a 3rd down in the red zone.
If you're Georgia Tech right now, and if you're Sam Cephas, you got to like how, from the physicality that his team is playing with. You're seeing they're snapping some heads back when they're putting their pads on them. Now they have to play with great discipline here and communication, not turning anyone loose. And see if they can get their offense another crack at it here before this half is over.
Virginia Tech trying to get lined up. Will they bring a blitz? 6 at the line. Here comes the blitz. Back swing pass incomplete. He missed Tony. Maybe rushed it a bit. And now Mark Fletcher gets into a shoving match.
That's a nice job of blitz protection on the part of Miami. Mark Fletcher was going at it with Caleb Woodson, and he stoned him on that blitz pickup. And this game is just getting awful physical. And you mentioned it, Bob. Carson Beck rushed that throw. He could have taken his time and just lofted that ball out there to Tony, who didn't have anybody within 10 yards of him.
And there's a flag down, Lewis. Miami thinks this is going to be maybe after the play against Virginia Tech.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 4, his first of the game. 15-yard penalty. The down count is 4th down.
So Miami was wrong. It's against Fletcher.
You can see Fletcher right here as he steps up in the A-gap to take on Caleb Woodson. And then after the play, you can tell they are continuing to just battle and go at it down the field. And there you see Fletcher in the face of the linebacker, number 16, Noah Chambers, the freshman. You see there, he tosses Caleb Woodson well after the play is over.
So now for Carter Davis with the win, but from 46 yards out rather than it being a short-range field goal. He's 11 of 13 on the season, but put him outside 39 yards, and he struggles a bit. The wind blows it, but not enough to get it outside the near upright. Carter Davis converts, and Miami extends their lead. Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. We'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break it all down, top to bottom. They'll have coach reactions as well. They will project the 12-team field. Will Miami be a part of it? That remains to be seen. They've got a 17-3 lead today. They must win their last 2 games and must do it convincingly, you would think. Bob Wischusen and Louis Riddick, Chris Button, Jerry McGinn is our referee expert. And keep in mind, Miami right now is ranked 13th. It's a 12-team playoff, but they don't have to move up 1 spot. They have to move up 3 spots because the 11th and 12th spots, one is going to go to a group of 5 champion, and one is going to go to the winner of the ACC championship game. Even if Miami wins their last 2 games, they are a major underdog to make the ACC championship. So to be an at-large team, Louis, they have to go from 13 to 10.
Right.
And there's obviously some other teams like Utah, BYU, Notre Dame, Alabama, all in the mix in and around that spot. We'll see what happens with those teams down the stretch, but this is a lot harder for the U than going from 13 just to get inside the top 12.
Yeah, look, ultimately Miami feels as though they have a leg up on Notre Dame because of the head-to-head, and they think that that should count for more than right now they are getting credited for. But they can control what they can control right now, and that is they have to play convincingly dominant football over the next 2 weeks.
Terrion Stewart into the secondary, 10 more yards.
I mean, look, the committee has made it clear that the eye test means something to them when they want it to mean something to them. And I think for Miami, the manner in which they win football games as we take a look at the ref cam, which again, I just think is one of the best things that I've seen.
Yeah, you said earlier it makes you feel like you're in the middle of it.
It does. I mean, I'm sitting here ducking and dodging, getting down in a football position, trying to make tackles myself.
Yeah, it makes you feel like you're back in it.
But I think it's important about how they play the game. And as you see right here, that's the kind of swarming defense they need to have. Offensively, play an exciting brand of football, put a ton of points up on the board. It'll be interesting to see as this game progresses how they call it from a coaching staff perspective.
Well, right now it seems like Notre Dame is getting a lot more credit for Miami being a good loss than Miami is getting credit for Notre Dame being a good win.
Absolutely. It does seem that way.
Which sounds backwards, but that is certainly the way things stand now as Drones escapes the pocket. Bounces off Wesley Bassett and picks up about 6 yards. And Chris Button, you've been a part of the mock selection committee before. I have as well. And they look at teams in like a 3-team pod, basically. And right now, they're not looking at Notre Dame and Miami in the same 3-team group.
Yeah, and Hunter Yurachek, the committee spokesperson, mentioned this, that they haven't been compared, so you haven't really been able to put their resumes and put into account the head-to-head. So if you're Miami, you're hoping you can just move up enough spots so that you can be in that same comparison pool when the selection committee puts both of those resumes. And he even admitted when Reese Davis asked him on Tuesday's selection show, if they are, how much will that head-to-head matter? And Yurachek said very much so.
So that's a chance as a false start here for Virginia Tech makes it 3rd down at about 9. That if Miami can get into that 3-team pod, maybe just move up 1 spot, now that head-to-head win matters a lot more.
Yeah, the question then becomes, what does it take in order for them to move up? Is it about how you view the quality of their wins, the manner in which they play, the score differential in their games? That's what I'm saying. For Miami, the only thing they can control is being dominant on the field. And that's what their full intention is here now.
Blitz coming. Drones. Low throw. Reaching back and scooping it up. Let's see if the credit is given to Jarikas Hairston for a catch. Yes, that's a terrific catch by Jarikas Hairston.
He was sitting on his backside and scooped that thing with one hand, I think.
They want to go for it. Flag down. They might have snapped it too quickly. I don't know that Virginia Tech was set. They tried to catch Miami substituting by keeping that same personnel on the field and quick snapping it on 4th and 1. And the flag thrown at the snap.
Prior to the play, charge timeout, Miami, their first of the half. It'll be 30 seconds.
And you can see the Miami defenders were all motioning to the referees that ball had hit the ground. And I think Mario Cristobal wanted to take a look at it as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jarikas Hairston with a terrific effort. He was granted the catch. They tried to quick snap it on 4th down, but this is certainly worth taking another look at.
As we try to zoom in here, it's hard to get a look at it initially with the angles that we had. You see that right hand come out. It's hard to see from that angle whether or not the ball had hit the ground, although Wesley Bassane had come running in there immediately, the linebacker number 31, saying the ball had hit the ground.
Well, remember, as long as the officials in replay believe that Hairston had firm control, the ball can touch the ground and it can still be a completion. They gave him the catch, and 4th and 1 after the timeout. Drones needs a push. He won't get there. That's going to be another stop on downs, but this play may have been blown dead before the snap. Another flag thrown after the play was over. Our referee, Tim Hedgepeth, I think was about to have a timeout granted before the play. But then after the play was over, a flag drops, as there was again an altercation. So they have a few things to unpack here.
Before the ball was snapped, the play went under further review. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 8, defense number 4, that is each first of the game. The penalty's canceled. The play is under further review.
So Jairicus Hairston's catch is now going to be reviewed. They had a long time to decide that they wanted to take a look at this.
They sure did. I don't know if they have a good enough picture here to overturn this. I mean, you can see, you get an idea, you have a feeling that that ball does touch the ground. It's just hard to determine whether or not he has his right hand around it and has it trapped up against his body.
Well, Jerry McGinn can certainly weigh in here. And Jerry made the point earlier that if he's got control, the ball can touch the ground. What do you need to see? What type of movement here of the football to take this catch away?
So since it was called a catch on the field, we need clear and obvious video that it wasn't. And I believe we do have it. The other shot that we're showing.
After further review, the ruling on the field of a completed pass is upheld. It's 4th down.
So, Jerry, they're saying they're going to uphold the call. I guess they didn't have, at least in their opinion, the clear and obvious evidence.
Yeah, I know. From our view, though, we see that the receiver's right hand does grab the ball, but as he's pulling it in, it hits the ground. That was an incomplete pass. I would rather than overturn it to an incomplete pass.
I think the view from behind the offense, the initial view, you could see that there was a possibility that the ball does hit the ground. From there behind the receiver, you can't see it.
Correct.
And that's, I mean, from my vantage point, I can see why maybe they upheld it and didn't overturn it, because it's just so hard, it's just so blurry, it happened so fast.
Yeah, they do have an opportunity to blow it up and take a look at it. It appeared that it did hit the ground, but they're going to move forward.
So for the 3rd time, Virginia Tech will line up to try and go for it on 4th and 1.
And they caught a break because they got stuffed on the last attempt here on 4th down.
NG Gosnell in motion. Now they'll run the option. And getting stoned is Drones. A little extra push. Did he get there? It is a 1st down. An official on the near side is saying without measurement, give Virginia Tech the 1st down. And Hedgepeth says the same.
I mean, this is a 2-minute timeout.
I mean, just look at the effort here of linebacker Chase Smith just trying to keep Kyron Drones at all 235 pounds from getting the 1st down. But it looks like Drones may have snuck it over the line to gain.
Well, Maddie, we will be interested to hear what the guys in the studio have to say, because certainly Louis Riddick has his opinions as well about where Miami should be right now and where they are in the college football playoff standings. Bounced snap to Drones, and he's just going to hoist it to the sideline and throw it away. So that wastes it down for Virginia Tech. They do start the third quarter with the ball, so a chance to string together back-to-back scores. But now it's 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, obviously a miscommunication. Kyle Altuner, the center, he snapped the ball. Kyron Drones is still surveying what the defense was doing.
Drones tosses it out of bounds, 2nd and 10 from the Hokies.
Almost as if Altuner didn't realize he was in shotgun. Kind of rolled it back to him. Haynes rush 4. Drones trying to step up in the pocket. And he will go down. That time he just couldn't escape. Akeem Mesidor. Well, what a season he has had with Ruben Bain, of course, on the other side.
Watch Mesidor make the tackle feel like he's going to go upfield with speed. He realizes he's overset, and look how he counters back inside with that right arm, and then just continues to hunt and finish off the rush. I mean, that's just next level stuff. I mean, this guy is so technically proficient. As you see here, his draft rankings, according to my guy Mel Kiper Jr., he's so technical, both him and Ruben Bain Jr. And we saw him down there on the field, and Chris Bunn's going to jump in here and tell us, look, these two guys are incredible individuals, and Akeem Mesidor's story is as good as any in college football, Chris.
And what a story it has been, and a journey growing up in Ottawa, Canada, and had to go to 5 different schools within a 2-year period, which sometimes to drive to Ohio, 6 hours there, 6 hours back, just to be able to get more football in. He comes down to the States. His mom hasn't been able to watch him play in person since 2022, but he credits her being the reason that he plays the way that he does, so that one day he can be able to provide for her.
So Miami calling timeout. They're going to get the ball back. Mario Cristobal calls another. Yeah, Mesidor bouncing to all of the different camps and all of the different tryouts that he could to eventually become a 3-star recruit. He ended up in West Virginia. And of course, Lewis, I know you believe getting out of West Virginia, smart move by Akeem Mesidor. But now he has gone from 3-star find for West Virginia to a dominant defensive end for Miami, and very likely a first-round NFL draft choice.
Yeah, the work ethic that exists along this defensive line overall, but in particular with Akeem and Ruben Bain, and even some of these young guys now that they're trying to bring along, like Marquise Lightfoot, David Blay, who's injured right now. He's a 5th-year guy, but he looks fantastic. Justin Scott, the sophomore from Chicago. They have got just player after player, and they are on the recruiting trail trying to get some more of them. And look, give these guys credit. They have taken the Jason Taylor's tutelage, Damian Lewis, the defensive tackle, coach's instruction, and they are just dominant individual players.
A punt into the wind that just does squeeze into the end zone. Nick Velcistas almost pinned Miami at the goal line as we take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings. Brought to you by Verbo. Top of the board doing what the top of the board has to do so far. Oklahoma and Mizzou. You would expect that game to possibly be close. And some other crucial games coming up later on. BYU Cincinnati. That's one for BYU right on the bubble. They need a road win. And of course, Oregon USC, that's where game day was. And that could change these standings in a big way as well.
Yeah, I think minute 30 left in this first half. If you're Miami looking at the big picture, look, they're just trying to win a football game, but I think big picture, it would really help them if they were able to put their foot on the pedal here and try and get another score.
Seam shot. Malachi Tony gets to the sideline. Being pursued and finally bumped out inside the 25-yard line. Isaiah Brown Murray pushed him out at the 24 of Virginia Tech, but that's 56 yards for Tony.
That's just a great throw by Carson Beck. And you're going to see Malachi Tony gets in behind the linebacker, Caleb Spencer, who, as he's trying to flip his hips and carry that seam ball or that middle read, he just stumbles and falls to the ground. And Carson Beck, he's been on it all game long. He's looking at Tony the entire way, and he's able to cross the face of the safety, number 14, Sheldon Robinson. He's off to the races. This passing game for Miami has been humming since the very first play.
No timeouts left for Miami, but still a minute 20 on the clock. Beck, flag down. He's going to try to run to the sideline, and does. But we've got a flag in the offensive backfield. Couple of flags thrown behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to be a hold against the U.
Holding. Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It's on the left guard, number 63, Sam Okunlola. You're going to see he just starts losing control of Kamari Copeland as he sinks that rip and starts to drive upfield on his pass rush. You see it happen time and time again in football. Normal starting left guard, number 78, Matthew McCoy, not in the game right now as they're trying to rotate some guys through. That time it cost them.
Over 100 yards receiving in the first half for Malachi Tony. He's in the right slot. Back instead. Down the sideline. JoJo Trader out of his reach.
That's nice coverage by Thomas Williams on JoJo Trader. They're just playing a cover 4 type of look. He's responsible for anything vertical up the field outside. Just zone turns and runs with him down the sideline. Nice coverage by this Virginia Tech secondary.
2nd down and 20. Max steps up in the pocket. Catch and run across the middle, trying to maintain his balance is Joshua Moore. Now Miami out of timeouts. He picks up 13 to make it 3rd down and manageable, and Carson Beck gets them lined up. 50 seconds to go in the half. Another 4-man rush. Beck over the middle, tip ball. He had Tony open, but that time Caleb Spencer in coverage got a fingertip on the football. It'll be 4th down.
Caleb Spencer just kind of playing like a robber type of coverage situation. You're going to see him right there, number 3, in the middle of the field. The back blocks. He just kind of drifts back into that zone. And you see Malachi Tony coming across on the intermediate crosser, and he's just able to get his hand up. That's just good complementary defense. Meaning if you don't have work, you can help out one of your brothers on those crossing routes. Nice job by Caleb Spencer.
Carter Davis made earlier from 46. This one from 40. Plenty of leg. And he's got another. So it's a 17-point lead for Miami. 37 seconds to go in the half. Now Miami needs to win these games convincingly. They're off to a good start. And boy, what a great start to the season they got off to. 3 wins over ranked teams in their first 5. Reached as high as number 2 in the AP poll, but then heartbreak against Louisville. 4 interceptions in that game thrown by Carson Beck. At a game they struggled mightily with penalties against SMU on the road. Now they're winning these games, Lewis, the way they have to, and that is by big margins. If they win their last 2, according to our All-State playoff predictor, they would still have a 40% chance to make the playoff, and maybe if they win by big margins, it's better than 40%.
Yeah, no question about it. Look, it's all about the eye test here. You're probably going to get tired of hearing that word, but for Miami, it is applicable. They have to be dominant in their performance. And look, I think that's something that Mario Cristobal is going to have to wrestle with here as the game potentially gets out of hand if it happens to play out that way here in the second half. Do you want to continue to try and impress the committee? Or do you want to safeguard your players who really have nothing to play for in terms of winning the game once you have such a wide margin in terms of the point differential? But it's all the kind of things that they have to take into account now and try and balance out.
Now, Mario Cristobal, I thought, made a great point to us about the Syracuse game, the NC State game. Said, what message does the committee send? I put my 3s in there at the end of games where we're winning, maybe with a shutout, and all of a sudden a late touchdown gets scored against us. Does that shrink our margin of victory, our game control metric? Am I supposed to leave my starters in all the way through and just try and blow teams out by as much as possible?
Yeah, I think in the end, I think what they want to do, and there's no way of them really even knowing this, like what they have to do to close the gap on teams like Notre Dame.
Right.
But that's what they want to do. They want to close the gap to the point where then they can be compared to them one-on-one as far as their head-to-head matchup and have that be the deciding factor. So I think until they feel as though, the rankings reflect that they have closed that gap, every team that they play against over these next 2 weeks, now Virginia Tech, Pitt in a week, they have to absolutely put the pedal to the metal.
This one has looked good so far, and that was nearly an interception. Xavier Lucas jumped in front, had that ball right in the breadbasket, it looked like. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
You're going to see Lucas, the corner. He's just playing a trap scheme. That's what they call it. What you're doing is you're keeping your eyes on number 2, the number 2 wide receiver, as you're lined up on number 1. Any out-breaking route by number 2, you trap it and you steal it and you jump it. And you saw him right there just lurking, just sitting there waiting, see if he could get one.
The Canes rush 5. Here's Jeffrey Overton. The freshman pays the price, but has a first down.
Did.
Wow.
I'll tell you, Jeffrey Overton, they are excited about him.
Charge timeout.
So Virginia Tech will call timeout.
It would be 30 seconds.
And it does seem like a little bit of an arbitrary way of looking at it, I guess, in 3-team pods, the way that the committee looks at it. But as you said, if they can get into a head-to-head discussion with Notre Dame, and look, Mario Cristobal said, look, we played them at the start of the season and we beat them. Shouldn't that count for a lot?
And you see their best wins for Notre Dame. It's at number 20 USC. For Miami, it's Notre Dame themselves. And that's ultimately what they have in their back pocket as far as Miami's argument to get into the CFP. And it's going to be fascinating. These next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely fascinating to watch how this all plays out and and what the committee actually does value, and whether or not Miami eventually becomes in the discussion as one of the top 10 teams, one of the top 10 ranked teams, and solidify their spot in the playoffs.
That's where they have to get to. And Kyron Drones gets out of the pocket. He is a bulldozer of a quarterback.
Yes, he is.
He's got 9 yards. Wesley Bassane brings him down. Last time out called by Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
You take a look here from the ref cam again. You see that 235-pound body coming. And we saw on the play before when Jeffrey Overton was taken down by Zechariah Poyser. These safeties for the Miami Hurricanes will absolutely put the U on their helmet right on you. And they will make you feel it. It's a shame that they lost Keontae Scott, the fantastic nickel defender, the star defender, to injury. But between Jacoby Thomas, Keontae Scott, and Zechariah Poyser, and then the young freshman, Bryce Fitzgerald, they are loaded. Loaded. And there you see some of the impact players, Bob, that are out of this football game. David Blay, just a run-stuffing, point of attack player on the defensive line. O.J. Frederick, arguably their best corner on this football team. And he hasn't played in a couple weeks either.
And Keontae Scott lost for the season after being named a Thorpe semifinalist as well. So a shame that they lose him. So no timeouts left for the Hokies. 3-man rush. Drones try to buy time. Flag down. And he will go out of bounds. Couple of flags thrown. And this will go against Virginia Tech.
Offense number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
If there was a chance for a Hail Mary there for Kyron Drones. 10 more yards back. Not sure if he's got the arm to reach the end zone from where he's going to have to throw it from with 5 seconds to go. And into the wind as well.
You can just see the limitations of the Virginia Tech passing game really just hamstrings this offense that, by all accounts, over the past couple of weeks has really run the football. And really, ever since Phil Montgomery took over, they have run the football as well as anybody.
There's a slam on what will end the first half. Devin Alvis brought down. Virginia Tech runs for 125 yards in the first half alone against a Miami defense that only allows about 80 yards rushing per game, and yet they only have 3 points on the board.
And that's their inability really to create explosive plays down the field. That's the problem. That's what's really holding them back.
Let's head down to Chris.
Coach, Virginia Tech's been able to move the ball on the ground. You've kept them out of the end zone. How would you evaluate the job your defense has done so far?
It's been bend or not break. I mean, they've hit us with some good runs. They've run the ball to the field, right, pretty consistently. And they're getting outside, they're out leveraging us. So we got to get off of blocks. We also got to set edges better.
Thank you, Coach.
So if Miami needs an impressive win, they're halfway there. 20-3, they've got the lead at the break. Joey Galloway and E.J. Manuel. They'll have Miami opinions coming up. They're in the studio, the halftime report with Matt Barry. college football, presented by Serve Pro. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Set for the start of the third quarter. And Miami on top by 17. Bob Wischusen, Louis Riddick, and Chris Budden in Blacksburg as we take a look at our first half stats. Brought to you by Tums. And right now that Canes offense, Louis, is rolling.
It sure is. And really, it's the passing game that right now has really been hitting on all cylinders. Carson Beck has come out on fire. The Virginia Tech defense has helped them as far as some coverage busts in the back end. But they have really been hitting on all cylinders. Got to try and get the run defense squared away. But Miami's looking pretty good so far here in the first half.
And we talked about the fact that the table is set about as clearly for Miami as it could be. They not only have to win, but they have to win impressively. So we're not expecting them to take the foot off the gas pedal in the second half.
No, they aren't. And you're right. We talked about it in the first half. Coach Cristobal has a choice to make, a decision to make. As this game, maybe as the gap widens in terms of the score, does he try to safeguard some of his players and take them out of the game where they have nothing left to play for in terms of trying to win this game? But he knows in the back of his mind, he's trying to slay a bigger beast, which is getting into the CFP, where right now maybe they're on the outside looking in.
There's Marcellus Hawkins onto crease. Let's go down to Chris Budden.
Philip Montgomery trying to close that gap in the score. When I spoke to him coming out of the locker room and said it's time to empty the tank, but we put ourselves in a bit of a catch-22 offensively. We've done such a good job running the football, but down 17, we can't rely on that to be able to come back, so we're going to have to find some sort of explosive plays.
Now, they already have twice as many yards, more than Miami normally gives up in a game, but only 3 points on the board. And now, Justin Scott meets Kyle Altuner early.
Offside with contact. Defense number 5. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Yeah, offside with contact. I will certainly say so.
You see Justin Scott, as Kyron Jones executes the clap, does not necessarily locking in on the movement of the football. And those are the kind of things that Coach Cristobal has been trying to get his football team to get out of their game. The self-inflicted penalties, the lack of concentration, because it's holding back how this football team ultimately plays.
Hawkins tries to turn the corner. Maybe a yard. Xavier Lucas lowered the boom.
And there you see it. The penalties, 7.7 per game. 127th in the FBS, 63.6 yards per game. I mean, that's just, those are just the kind of thing. Look, there's penalties that happen in the heat of the battle that you kind of like live with and understand that's just the price of doing business. It's just the things that are just concentration things that you just can't allow to keep happening.
Throws, runs through contact, and checks it down to the sideline. Takai Heath bounced out of bounds, so it'll be third down. When they lost to SMU, they committed 8 penalties in the first half. And there were some big ones down the stretch. A roughing the passer penalty late in that game. I think against Marquise Lightfoot, that was really hard for Corey Heatherman's defense to overcome. And it ended up, as much as anything in that SMU contest, costing them a game.
No question about it. And untimely turnovers on the part of Carson Beck late in the football game after he played a really good football game. And this team is locked in, though. It's as good as any team in the country.
Drones, a yard short of the first down line to gain. Another good catch made by Jarikas Hairston. Mo Toure threw him out. It'll be 4th and 1.
And I think if you're Philip Montgomery, this is a no-brainer. You have to go for this, especially when you have a 235-pound quarterback.
On the field is 4th down.
I think you got to have one of these design quarterback runs, quarterback follows, where you get some lead blockers going up inside or off tackle for him. By the way that the formation's deployed, I think you may be getting that kind of thing, or they're going to put him out on the perimeter in a run-pass type of situation.
Drones running the option. There's the pitch. Flag out for a face masking call. So it will be a penalty that is going to cost Miami, as they nearly had the stop.
I think we get a face mask on Cam Pruitt, the freshman.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He played it perfectly. You're going to see Cam Pruitt. He's going to beat Jeffrey Overton to the perimeter and turn him back in. It's just that as he reaches back, you're going to see the left hand. It's going to come up. Actually, that's not a face. Oh, he gets it at the end. He started on the shoulder pad, and then his hand slid up to the face mask. I was about to say, they missed one there. But it's a great reaction on the part of Pruitt. Just got to try and complete that without grabbing the face mask. But if you're Virginia Tech, now's the time to strike. Can they dial up a shot play down the field? They've got to get someone like Heath or Aiden Green loose one-on-one down the field.
Overton, nice move. There goes the freshman Jeffrey Overton. House call. Does that get the Hokies back in it?
Just watch how this is blocked perfectly right here. This combination block and then seal. And that's Laith Ganem. Just watch this combination block and look how he seals off the backer. Jeffrey Overton able to cut off of that block at full speed and never break stride. Look, this offensive line for Virginia Tech, it's really a tale of two offensive lines. When you're talking about the run game, they can block it as well as anyone. As you take a look at Phil Montgomery cheering on his guys as they come off the field. It's been pass protection where they have struggled some, but that is a big-time play by the former Gatorade Player of the Year and Mr. Football in the state of Virginia, Jeffrey Overton.
Only one student section can claim the title of Liv Moss Student Section of the Year. Who will take home the trophy this year? And even over Thanksgiving break, a lot of the kids here at Virginia Tech showing up to watch this game against Miami. This will be a touchback on the kickoff. How about our college football headlines presented by Twisted Tea? Kevin Jennings and SMU right now in control against Louisville. Big one tonight between Pitt and Georgia Tech. If the Yellow Jackets win, they are in the ACC title game. And Virginia hoping to beat Virginia Tech next week and hoping that that will mean a berth in that game as well.
Yeah, that's what you love. You love meaningful football down the stretch here. A lot on the line for these respective colleges. And right now for Miami, again, we've been talking about the eye test and boosted their resume. Virginia Tech says, hey, not on our watch.
Backwards pass. Tony. Bounced out of bounds. Looks like he'll pick up 7 as Isaiah Brown-Murray made the stop. Well, already in this game, Lewis, more rushing yards for Virginia Tech, 171, than Miami has given up the whole season. And we have the better part of the second half still to go.
Yeah, man, that's just a staggering statistic to look at. 171 yards against a team that has basically just blanked every team that's tried to run the football on them. Every single one. If Virginia Tech could just muster up some semblance of a passing game.
Pringle close to the first down. He was down when the ball popped out. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 as we go down to Chris.
Yeah, Virginia Tech team that if you thought that they were just looking forward to the future and the end of this season and what they have next, it is anything but that here on the sidelines. Watching this team come out of the tunnel in the second half, they were screaming at each other, trying to get amped up. I just watched Jones go up to every single one of his offensive linemen, give him a fist pound and be like, we got this, let's keep rolling.
Well, give this coaching staff, and specifically the head coach, Phil Montgomery, credit.
No question.
They have had them playing hard the whole season after the head coach gets fired 3 weeks into the year. 3rd down and 1. And Mark Fletcher has enough for a Miami first down.
you're starting to approach the critical juncture of the game where things have fell apart for them when they have been playing pretty darn well against some pretty powerful offenses. Same thing happened against Florida State. They were right in that game at the half. They took Louisville deep into the third quarter, and then things got away from them, in particular on a special teams play. This is where it becomes critical. This is where the size and the depth and the power of Miami's offense, in particular their offensive line, can wear you down. Can Virginia Tech withstand and hold up and get some stops?
Beck checks it down. Mark Fletcher, a little shimmy shake, and he gets to the sideline. 7-yard gain. Noah Chambers made the stop. Well, talking to Phil Montgomery, he said in these moments you need leaders, right? When the coach gets fired, the new coach is hired, still with a couple games to go. And he pointed out Kelvin Gilliam at defensive tackle. So that's the guy that when Brent Pry was let go, he walked up to the door, opened the door in a team meeting and said, you know what? You're either with us or you're out this door.
Yeah.
Because we're still all in. And they play hard. Screen. Even Marion. Close to a first down. And there is the sideline hustle of the Hokie defense.
And that time it was Tyson Flowers, the transfer from Rice, the safety, who just came flying downhill. But they've got some guys in the back end between guys like Tyson Flowers, Noah Chambers, Caleb Woodson, Caleb Spencer. These guys play 1,000 miles an hour, and they'll play till the very last tick on the clock.
Whole shot up the sideline of Malachi Tony, perfectly layered by Carson Beck.
These are the kind of things that have been hurting this football team, and this time it's the freshman Sheldon Robinson who kind of gets caught on the play-action fake. And that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to open up the window, and you see he's trying to recover and get underneath that 7 route or the corner route, whatever you want to call it, and he's just a little bit too shallow. And those are the kind of things that Sam Seifkas has said. That they have gotten themselves in position to make some plays. There'll be some coverage bust, but when they're in position to make plays, they have to make the plays, and that's what they have not been able to do consistently.
Tony again makes a man miss and slips and falls. He's fun even when he picks up 3 yards. Sherrod Copeland ended up grasping air.
Yeah, look, Malachi Tony just burst onto the scene that week 1 game against Notre Dame, where everyone was like, okay, what do we have here at number 10? And that was the game that C.J. Daniels had the spectacular one-handed catch in the end zone, and Miami was off to the races. C.J. Daniels been dealing with an injury. They've had some, Mark Fletcher's been injured. He's been in and out of the lineup. But right now, Carson Beck, he's in a groove right now, and Shannon Dawson, offensive coordinator, dialing him up.
Please set the game clock to 8 minutes, 3 seconds. Thank you.
So the clock stopped when it should not have. They take some time off of it as we approach the midway point of the third quarter, and Carson Beck 4 for 4 on this drive, 17 of 21 on the day, 220 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Virginia Tech shows blitz, and Beck looks like he saw it coming.
Now, do they check out of it? Or do they go ahead and run what they had called initially? It looks like they're going to stick with the call.
Fletcher ran right into the blitz. That worked to perfection, and that makes it 3rd down. And about 7 to go still for the Canes, as Tyson Flowers and Kamari Copeland were in on the tackle.
Sometimes you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to check for every check that the offense makes. If you just stick with your original call and just play with fury and physicality, and that's what Tyson Flowers and this defense is doing. This is a big 3rd down. You got 3rd and 7. You got to get Carson Beck uncomfortable. He's been able to stay on the spot and just throw the football where he wants. Can they get some pressure on him?
Timeout called defensively for Virginia Tech.
Prior to the snap, charge timeout.
They were all
Virginia
bouncing
Tech
around trying to get lined up. And it looked like
Timeout on
Sam
the field.
Seifkas told Phil Montgomery, we did talk this over.
ESPN College Football, presented by Serve Pro, is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Fan work is thirsty work.
That's a great scene here in Blacksburg. Terrific atmosphere at Lane Stadium always, even in a lost season where Virginia Tech, their team fighting tooth and nail to stay in this game against Miami, and they have forced a big 3rd down and 7. Abushusen alongside Louis Riddick. Chris Budden with us, as well as Carson Beck surveys. 3rd and 7 at the +33.
Yeah, they got to figure out a way to rattle Carson Beck and take care of number 10. Sam Sifka said they're going to play a little bit of what they call like a box and one in basketball. Always know where number 10 is and adjust the coverage around it.
Malachi Tony to the bunch, top of the screen instead of one-on-one near side. Squeezed into Dalen Upshaw. Terrific back shoulder throw for Carson Beck, and that freshman made it count.
That's an unbelievable throw and a heck of a contested catch by Dalen Upshaw. Takes the outside release on Isaiah Brown-Murray, and then you see him just hand fighting down the field. Carson Beck just throws an absolute frozen rope. Look at that, it's perfectly placed. That's great body position that is won by Dalen Upshaw down the field. True freshman making a big-time play. You see in the red zone today, 3 possessions, 2 TDs, and 1 field goal. That's pretty efficient.
Back to Malachi Tony in the Wildcat. He hands it freshman to freshman to Gerard Pringle. And Virginia Tech not confused. Caleb Spencer, terrific pursuit.
Yeah, the leading tackler on the football team, Caleb Spencer. Between him, Chambers, and Caleb Woodson, this linebacker group is very active, very athletic. They're all big, they're fast, they can hit. That's a heck of a TFL. Now they got him behind the sticks. They have got to tighten down their coverage in the back end.
Clean pocket for Beck. Lobs one in the end zone. Pringle lays out. Touchdown. The wheel route comes open, and a terrific catch made by Gerard Pringle for the score.
This is freshman on freshman. You're going to see Pringle, the freshman, got his first start a week ago against NC State. It's on that halfback. Some offenses call it a rail route. He just releases out of the backfield and just goes up the sideline. Singled up one-on-one against the freshman Noah Chambers at linebacker. He makes a critical error with his eyes looking in the backfield.
4 trips by the U into the red zone, and that's their 3rd touchdown. And they've got a 3-score lead again.
You're just going to see Noah Chambers, the linebacker. You're going to see he's trying to get over top of that shallow, and then gets his eyes in the backfield. Pringle with a nice route, Beck with a perfect throw.
The college football playoff selection show, the bracket will be filled. Judgment Day is here.
And where will Miami be when the final bracket comes out? That guy absolutely frightens me.
Oh,
he and
man.
I have so much in common.
This shirt off phenomenon is just like taking on a life of its own, man.
Miami's had the ball 5 times, by the way, and they've scored at least some points all 5 times. 3 touchdowns, couple of field goals. So it has been a very efficient offensive day for Miami, as they've got 348 yards total, coming off of a season high last week where they put 581 up against NC State. And the latest touchdown, Gerard Pringle, a perfect throw by Beck.
Yeah, sometimes offense gets you tips as to what they're about to run. Just look at the alignment of Gerard Pringle, and then look at the alignment of the wide receiver, Keelan Marion. You see how Pringle is right behind the tackle, just slightly outside his outside leg, and the cut split by Keelan Marion. That tells you you're probably going to get something shallow like this, and he's going to release outside. The linebacker in coverage, number 16, Noah Chambers, he doesn't adjust his alignment. 1, he doesn't get enough depth. 2, he doesn't have enough width. He naturally picks himself off on his own defensive teammate, and then his eyes go to the backfield and he's out leveraged. sometimes the offense tells you what they're trying to do. If you can kind of pick it up pre-snap, that time the freshman didn't have an idea of what was to happen. Miami took advantage of it.
There's Overton down the sideline. Another chunk play for Overton. We have a lot of good-looking freshmen in this game. There's another is Jeffrey Overton, who scored the last time Virginia Tech had the ball.
Yeah, you see, they're just going to run this outside hitting play off tackle. Jeffrey Overton, you know, now that he's 100% healthy, you are seeing the explosive component that he brings. And between he and Marcellus Hawkins, that's a heck of a 1-2 punch.
Seam shot, incomplete. Looked like a strike thrown by Kyron Drones, but Zach Poyser got a hand it.
You can see he's just trying to fit that ball in there. And he basically puts it right where it needs to be put. And that's a pretty nice throw by Kyron Drones. Before the safety's able to get over there, he's trying to get that to Cameron Seldon.
Overton thrown down at the line of scrimmage by Justin Scott. So now it's 3rd down and 10, at least, maybe 3rd and 11.
Here you say this defensive line, you see how they just reset the line of scrimmage and play with such great hands. Justin Scott was a yard and a half on Virginia Tech's side of the line of scrimmage. And that'll just ruin everything you're trying to do from a run game perspective. Now you're in a 3rd and long. This is where Corey Heatherman, the defensive coordinator for Miami, wanted to keep Kyron Drones in these kind of situations. Now Bain and Mesidor, actually Bain's just on the field. I don't think Mesidor's at the 3 technique, working together with Bain.
Blitz coming free, Drones heaves it to the sideline, coming back to make a running catch is Aiden Green. Breaks a tackle, there goes Green, 1st down. Was Drones down? Miami thinks he may have had a knee on the ground when he unloaded that ball to Aiden Green, but that is a miraculous 3rd down conversion if it stands.
You could hear the whistle. I think you heard a whistle down on the field as they sent the blitz. You can see it's Bryce Fitzgerald coming in on the blitz. The offensive lineman actually stopped and looked back because they heard a whistle as well, and he's not down.
Yeah.
I think the officials were early on that whistle blowing, trying to stop the play. That's a heck of an individual effort by Kyron Drones.
Again, Jerry McGinn is our officiating expert, and Jerry waiting for the announcement here, but if that is just an inadvertent whistle, what happens to the play?
Unfortunately, if it's an inadvertent whistle, they're going to go back to the previous spot and replay the down.
There was an inadvertent whistle during the play. By rule, the down will be replayed. 3rd down.
That's a killer for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, that's a bad call. That's a really bad call, especially against with a quarterback as big and strong as Kyron Drones. He's clearly trying to fight off the defender and keep the play alive. I mean, he didn't look like he was any imminent danger. He's just trying to fight his way out of it and get the ball off.
Well, Phil Montgomery wants his pound of flesh here as he calls the officials over. And he is giving Tim Hedgepeth, the referee, an earful.
It's hard for me to understand why you would blow the whistle in that kind of situation. Just let the play itself out.
The previous play is under further review.
So now they're going to bring replay in, and I guess bring the sound up to see if they can get an idea when the whistle was blown. It seemed like when the ball was in the air, you could hear a whistle in the background.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's where you saw some of the offensive linemen. You saw Tomas Rimac turn around and look like, why is the whistle being blown? The right guard, number 55, he stopped mid-play.
Well, Chris Budd, you've got a better seat for this than we do.
Yeah, and I mean, the whistle would have been halfway across the field, and I could hear it from down here as well.
Now, replay also wants to confirm that the knees were not down, and that's as clear as day. Kyron Drones seemed like he was still alive when he got rid of that football. Maybe an official from a distance thought a knee was down and blew the play dead prematurely because of that.
I mean, that's really, Bob, the only explanation you can give, right?
Again, worth listening. And I think the replay center wants to hear it as well. Sound full. Listen for the whistle.
After further review, the ruling on the field is upheld. It's third down.
So they uphold the review. They do hear the whistle in the background. It's inadvertent. So what was a playground, miraculous third down conversion, drones to green, gets erased, and now Virginia Tech has to try again on 3rd and 11.
The ball was like 3/4 of the way to the receiver when you hear the whistle. I don't understand, like, that's interesting to say the least.
Although I guess Jerry McGinn said it, right? In the rule book, inadvertent whistle, you replay the down.
But I mean, what I would like to know, and I'm sure what Phil Montgomery is looking for, is why was there a whistle when the play was that far advanced anyway?
Well, Jerry, if you're Tim Hedgebeth, what are you saying to Phil Montgomery here to try and explain it?
Basically, you're just apologizing. It should never happen. It's a nightmare for an official. That is our worst nightmare, to have an inadvertent whistle. We always talk about slow whistles and no whistles. Let the play kill itself. Unfortunately, someone was a little premature on the play, and it's going to haunt him for the rest of the season.
And unfortunately, Murphy's Law, right? The inadvertent whistle comes on maybe the best play that Virginia Tech has made today.
Exactly.
No deep safeties. 3rd down and 11. Here comes the blitz. Drones tracked from behind and sacked. Zechariah Poyser on the safety blitz gets the sack. And that is salt in the wound. Chris Budden for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, a sideline that is boiled over with frustration. Philip Montgomery, probably the most composed of all of them, but there was an assistant coach who almost got into a fight with another assistant, having to be pulled back from the refs. The players as well having to be pulled back from coming onto the field to argue.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way. I mean, it's over now, but that's a terrible call. That's a terrible situation. The ball was 3/4 of the way to the receiver, and then a whistle just comes out of nowhere. That's uncalled. That's just inexcusable.
Line drive punt. Gets past Tony. Fields it on a hop. And he's bottled up along the sideline. Flag down. Right where Tony went out of bounds. Well, you add the cumulative emotion to that moment of everything that Virginia Tech has been through this year as well, right? Your coach gets let go after week 3. The new coach is in the building while the former staff is still coaching the season out.
Illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 24. The penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal. First down, Miami.
So you can certainly understand for Phil Montgomery and this coaching staff why there would be some emotions that might, Lewis, boil over in a moment like that with everything they've been through this year.
Bob, you could feel the emotion in our production meeting with Phil Montgomery yesterday, and he is the consummate professional. We have met with him numerous times. I have a history that goes back as far as meeting with Phil Montgomery. You could feel the angst in the way in which he is just trying to summon up all of his professionalism to continue to trudge forward, get these guys ready to play while knowing that his future hangs in the balance, his family's future hangs in the balance. And that's just the way that it is set up in college football right now, that you could have this kind of situation.
So the long field for Miami. Pringle follows his blockers and can't get more than a yard. Nice tackle again for Kamari Copeland, the Hulk. He got that nickname last year. He took a practice over after he kind of, quote-unquote, became angry. And he became the Hulk, right? I mean, for those of us that are old enough to remember a guy turning green after he got angry.
And what a great interview he was as well, man. I mean, he was just so appreciative of us sitting down and talking with him. And both him and Marcellus Hawkins, just some of the very best of college football and what they represent.
Outside, catch made by Keelan Marion near the first down line to gain. Thomas Williams drives him back. Well, he offered up to you unsolicited, Kamari Copeland did, what these players are going through. Like, their phones are blowing up with agents and about the portal asking them
of course
about their future.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing but uncertainty right now. And look, in the age where there's this mass movement on the part of players, and players change programs for a lot less than when a new coach is coming in, and you just don't know if his philosophical beliefs are going to align with your skill set. You know there are going to be some phone calls. There's a lot of shut doors in the.
A snap gets passed back, and he has to cover it up at the 2-yard line. Miscommunication. I guess James Brockermeyer snapped it before Carson Beck was expecting it.
You see Carson Beck has his head to the right, just trying to make sure that everyone's in alignment. And if you're Miami right now, you don't want to get sloppy. You don't want to be putting bad tape on record for the committee to start looking at and going, hey, you know what? We have you right where you belong, because although you may win this football game, this isn't the kind of performance we're looking for.
Miami has yet to punt today. They'll run it with Fletcher out of the end zone. But this is a chance for the Virginia Tech defense to get their first stop. Emmett Laws made the tackle. Some breathing room courtesy of Mark Fletcher. But it's going to be second down. Or third down, pardon me, and a mile. 3rd and 21.
It's critical on the part of Virginia Tech to hold Miami down here so they can get some quality field position, maybe bust a punt return, and come up with a big play somehow. Strip sack, an interception. You've got to be thinking turnover if you're one of the 11 out there on the field right now.
Back from the goal line. Swing pass, Fletcher. He's out to the 20-yard line. Tyson Flowers, a form tackle on Mark Fletcher. That'll take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. And the first punt of the day for Miami will begin the 4th quarter when we come back to Blacksburg.
Sorry, timeout. Miami.
Because it looks like Virginia Tech called a timeout with 6 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter before the clock got to all zeros. So now it will be a 4th and 8 punt. And I think this might be a wind timeout. Lewis, maybe they want to maximize the number of snaps they're going to get. Or check that Miami called timeout. Miami probably called timeout because they want to punt with the wind at their back.
Absolutely.
Line drive kick. Over the shoulder catch by Isaiah Spencer. And he's to the 30-yard line. And that will take us now to the end of the 3rd quarter. Virginia Tech with the football when we return.
Montgomery, I know frustrations with that inadvertent whistle. What do you want to see from your team in this final quarter?
Hey, we just got to try to go finish right now. You know, that's a huge call and a huge play right there. But, you know, we face adversity all year long. This team is resilient. We got an opportunity right here with 15 more minutes. We got to go play.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
That's Phil Montgomery with Chris Budden, Bob Wischusen, Louis Riddick. Start of the fourth quarter. And Kyron Drones down by 3 scores. So really no margin for error left for Virginia Tech. And Sunday picks up about 3. But Lou, that was a point you made to Phil Montgomery when we met with him yesterday. The tape you watched, it stood out to you with all the adversity this year for Virginia Tech, how hard they play whistle to whistle.
Yeah, it jumps off the tape at you. These kids, when they get out here on the football field, they're not thinking about all the turmoil that's surrounding them and all the uncertainty. They're just trying to play the game. Fast and physical, trying to do what the coaches are coaching them to do. That's the very definition of personal and football character.
Drones to the sideline, tipped ball, and it falls incomplete. Good hands by Chase Smith.
I'll tell you, that's
almost tipped it to himself.
That's 2 fantastic plays by Chase Smith. We didn't get a chance to talk about the first one where he tracked down Cameron Seldon with like some blazing speed, and this is a great one right here. I mean, Chase Smith is 6'2", 240 pounds, one of the better athletes on this team overall. He has made 2 spectacular plays, man. They have got guys who are ideal in terms of measurables. When they get off the bus, you're going, that's how they're supposed to look. Chase Smith fits the bill as far as the linebacker is concerned.
Blitz coming on 3rd down. Drones. Long throw to the sideline. The catch is made. Beyond the line to gain? Yes. Aiden Green. It seemed like his own momentum might have brought him back short of the line to gain.
But that is a heck of a throw by Kyron Drones. That's an opposite college hash throw all the way across field. Mohamed Toure was hitting him as he let it go. That's an excellent throw.
Drones is going to take a shot for Aiden Green. Jump ball incomplete. Good coverage from Damari Brown.
It sure is. It's good coverage from Damari Brown, and it's really good late help from the freshman safety, Bryce Fitzgerald, number 13. Look at the break he gets out of the middle of the field. He's just shot out of the middle of the field like a rocket. And you can see here Damari Brown.
Aiden Green.
That's really good secondary play on the part of Miami.
That Green's still down
on the field.
Able to walk off on his own. And let's bring you now our Aflac trivia question. Since 2016, new Virginia Tech head coach James Franklin has 6 seasons with 10+ wins. In that same time frame, how many times has Virginia Tech won 10 or more games? We'll get you the answer in short order after the injury timeout, 2nd down and 10. Drones dives up the middle for 3. Another tackle for Damari Brown.
You just see this Miami defensive front just resetting the line of scrimmage. I mean, these guys are so good up front. They're so athletic. I mean, it's amazing to me that today the Hokies are 10 yards away from going over 200 yards rushing against a team that was giving up less than 90 a game.
Blitz off the edge. They throw right behind it. A yard short of the 1st down for Takai Heath. So it'll be 4th and 1. And you'd have to think, no doubt, Virginia Tech goes for it. And they're going to line up on 4th and 1 to try and convert.
If you're Miami, you want to go ahead and get off this football field and get your offense back on the field and try and get some more points on the board. And kind of finish this game strong and leave a strong impression in the minds of everyone watching college football that we're one of the best teams in the country.
Overton empties the backfield. Straight run for Drones. And he might be short. It looks like he's about a foot shy, although an official on the near side is running right in on the line to gain. Let's see where they spot the football. Well, on the far side, it looked like he might be short. On the near side, it's a first down.
Yeah, they definitely weren't in agreement as to where the ball ultimately got to, as you can see here on the replay. I wonder if that ball broke, if that ball actually got. I think they're going to take a look at that. It didn't look like from that vantage point like
he is the offense gained a first
reached
down.
the line to gain.
The play is under further review.
And the line to gain right on the Miami 48-yard line. That's exactly where the ball is spotted. So we'll see if it is indeed a fourth down conversion for the Hokies when we come back. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by ServPro. It is indeed a first down for Virginia Tech, as replay upheld the ruling on the field, saying Drones got enough.
Look, you pointed out in the commercial break, Hiram Drones has that ball in his right arm. I think right there they feel as though he just was able to get that ball across. I don't know how they see that. I guess, you know what, you just use your best judgment.
Well, our game summary to this point, Miami has had a very consistent day offensively, and they've got 27 points on the board. Carson Beck just as efficient, but Virginia Tech has moved the ball on the ground in a way that no one ever seems to against the U's defense. Here's Drones. He's going to throw this one to the sideline. So it's going to be second down and 10. If you're a committee member, what do you want to see out of Miami in these next 12 minutes?
I mean, you want to see more points on the board. Obviously, explosive plays, scoring is something that gets everyone's attention. I mean, if they watch the tape as much as, you know, they're claiming to really get down in the weeds and study these football teams, you'll see this defense, even though they've given up a bunch of yards on the ground, they got to make some plays here too late.
There's Hayden Green getting back in the game and making a catch for 7 yards. Another tackle for Zechariah Poyser, so third down and 3.
I think here it's all about what Mario talks about all the time, Mario Cristobal, about the standard. It's not about what anyone else is doing. It's not about how many fans are left in the stadium or whether you or I think they're good on the football field. It's about playing to their standard. And defensively, that means getting off the field now and getting this ball turned over back to your offense so they can try and put it in the end zone again.
Swing pass, Drones out in front of Overton. So now it'll be 4th and 3. And you'd have to think another go-for-it situation for the Hokies.
You can tell, look, Corey Heatherman, the defensive coordinator, he is not calling off the dogs at all. He's continuing to dial up some simulated pressures, some 5-man pressures, and he has been fired up over there on that sideline.
Last year as the defensive coordinator at Minnesota, they were a top 10 team in points allowed in total defense, and he's brought that to Miami. They're trying to get another 4th down stop. They show blitz. They rush 4. Drones to the sideline. Bottled up, and he runs out of bounds. Ahmad Moten ran him out. So that will be a turnover on downs on the sack, credited to Ahmad Moten.
Ahmad Moten is 6'3", 300 pounds. Just look at the athleticism he shows here as he adjusts his rush, flattens down the line of scrimmage, and runs Drones out of bounds. Look, they missed him when he was out of the lineup. I mean, he is an explosive, twitchy individual as far as his quickness and ability to change direction, and you can see it there now. That's the standard he's talking about. That's what they want to see. Good, solid football. And now I expect them to be aggressive here right now.
Pringle picks up about 3. Well, Miami last season was number 70 in America in points allowed per game. And this year with Corey Heatherman and that defense, they're up to the top of the ACC and number 7 overall in points allowed. That's a big improvement, and they need to continue to put the hammer down the rest of this game and next week as well.
Can you imagine last year's Miami Hurricane team with this year's defense? I mean, that's the kind of thing I know Mario has thought about that. Like, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, but
screen to Tony. only a yard. He got walloped. Thomas Williams came up to help on the tackle. Yeah, last year, of course, the #1 offense in America in terms of points and total offense. And, of course, you'd expect that when your quarterback becomes the top pick in the draft.
Yeah, they just did not have the same kind of juice, the same kind of coverage ability in the back end, and they made wholesale changes. I mean, they bring Corey Heatherman in, who had no background at all with Mario Cristobal. This defensive line has tuned it up. Their secondary has played much better this year. And they're fighting with everything they have to make this season be one that includes a trip to the playoffs.
Back on 3rd down. Screen out to Tony with a flag down, and he's short. Flag thrown in the secondary on the far sideline. Tackle made by Jaden Keller. Miami thinks it's a Virginia Tech penalty. The Hokies think the opposite.
Offside, lined up in the neutral zone. Defense number 33. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So a 5-yard penalty on 3rd down and 5. And that keeps the drive alive for the U.
Is Ben Bell, the defensive end. You're lining up at the left defensive end. He's looking right down the line of scrimmage. You can see him right here. You can see that line wasn't exactly straight, but you can tell he's offside. It's a free hand draw, folks.
That was straight enough.
You get the point. You just got to be disciplined as defensive linemen, especially if you're able to put your hand on the ground. The rule is always head behind your hand behind the ball.
Beck with room to run. Flag thrown behind Beck. Back behind the line of scrimmage.
See now holding. Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It's left guard Matt McCoy just trying to stop the blitz of Caleb Spencer, the linebacker. See, this is where if you're Miami, you have to keep the bigger picture in mind. If you're a player on the field, you cannot start to drift. Winning the game is just not enough. If you have the goal of making it to the play, you have to win impressive. Like, everything has to stay detailed for these last 9 minutes and 20 seconds and count.
Back well protected, and the check down to Pringle. Well, Miami, obviously, based on their ranking, they're not being given, I think, the credit they believe they deserve when you schedule Notre Dame, South Florida, Florida, before you even get into conference play, and then you win a couple of ranked games in conference play as well. So Mario Cristobal said, look, we're playing the hand we're dealt.
Yeah.
And that means you might have to rack up as many points as you possibly can to win in style, because that's kind of the message the committee has sent to where they're ranked. They'll run it on 2nd and long with Pringle. And make it 3rd and manageable. Let's check in with Matt Barry. And they'd be a dangerous team in that game. 3rd down and 8. Numbers advantage, it seems, far side of the field for Miami. Beck steps up, avoids a sack, nearly throws an interception. Tyson Flowers had a chance right between the hash marks to pick that one off.
Carson Beck, he loses track of Tyson Flowers in the middle of the field. As he steps up into the pocket, I thought he was going to look to hit the ball to Keelan Marion, who just flashed across the screen on the shallow. He's trying to hit Malachi Toney on the in cut. Loses track of the safety, Tyson Flowers, and almost commits a critical error. I mean, it's a nice job of navigating the pocket. I mean, Carson Beck has done a really good job of that here today. He has shown you the kind of mobility and creativity in the pocket and the ability to buy time outside the pocket. I think pro scouts are going to want to see for sure.
Miami intentionally takes a delay of game penalty.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
And the officials looked over to the sideline asking Phil Montgomery if he might want to decline the penalty. He said, no, we'll take it. So that gives Will Roach a little bit more room. Or check that, Dylan Joyce.
Please stop the game clock.
And the clock was running. And they'll probably have to put some time back on it.
Please set the game clock to 7:47. Thank you.
Number 11, Isaiah Spencer, back to receive for the Hokies.
End over end kick from Joyce. Fair catch called for. And made at the 8-yard line by Isaiah Spencer. Midway through the 4th.
ESPN College Football is presented by Serve Pro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration.
Some of the pictures that we've enjoyed today, courtesy of William Thomas, our umpire, wearing umpire cam on the visor of his cap. It's just great access allowed by the ACC. They've been great this year, giving us peeks behind the curtain in the command center during replays. And this, another spot that puts you right in the middle of the action. After the timeout, Overton. Brought down near the line of scrimmage, 7.5 minutes to go. Ahmad Moten made the stop. And again, Lewis, 7.5 more minutes where you need to see what from Miami.
Man, look, I know we've been talking about it a lot because it's really, I mean, they're at the forefront of the conversation. They really are. They are the conversation as far as what does it take, how much does eye test mean to this committee? For a team like Miami that has a head-to-head win against Notre Dame, a team that's ranked ahead of them, that most people feel as long as they win out, they're going to get the nod over Miami.
And they give up a first down here to Isaiah Spencer.
How you win, the dominance that you show, how clean of football you play, the exciting big plays, the score differential, all of it matters. Every single thing matters. This is not just like trying to see, you know, let the clock run out, let the 6 minute and 42 seconds just expire, and then you just go on back down the Coral Gables.
Drones lofts one to the sideline. What a catch made by Aiden Green. Did he get a foot down? The officials say yes. That is a spectacular grab for Aiden Green.
You're going to see that right foot come down. He gets it in right there. Wow. Fingertip catch. That's an incredible catch. And kind of lost in the story surrounding this game. Kyron Drones has thrown some beautiful footballs here in the second half, in this fourth quarter.
Drones sacked. And he had nowhere to go. The ball pops out. Well, they say it's live. No, he is down. But Ahmad Moten not only put him down, but planted him on that side.
I mean, there's just a pass rush clinic going on across the board. Right there, and right there. Ruben Bain, Ahmad Moten, and Akeem Mesidor. They all win. All three of them. And just destroy the quarterback. That right there, that in a nutshell is what they are trying to establish in Miami. That's how every play needs to look from this point on, with that kind of attention to detail. I mean, that is a pass rush clinic on one snap.
Drones under pressure again and scrambles up the middle. I guess if you want to see in a nutshell why Virginia Tech under Philip Montgomery has become a run-heavy, basically a triple option team. He told us, said, look, through 7 weeks of the season, Kyron Drones was the most pressured quarterback in college football. We had no choice because our pass protection just can't hold up.
Yeah, unfortunately, when you go up against this Hurricane defensive front, a lot of teams are going to have problems with this.
Yeah, I guess this is the wrong team.
Yeah, I mean, but his point is still valid, you know, as we know. I mean, they've struggled with that part of the game.
Here it is again. Nowhere to go. Drones somehow sidearms a ball out. The ball pops free. That's an incomplete pass or a sack. And Drones is slow to get up.
And this time it's this sophomore Armando Blunt. Just watch him cross the face of the center. Just look how quick and violent it is. I'm gone. I get my body skinny, I dip my shoulders. They were practicing all this stuff pregame down on the field with Jason Taylor, the defensive end coach. The get off, the pad level, the hand usage. You can see the work that they put in individually and how it pays off when they go 11 on 11. And there's Jason Taylor on your screen, walking along with Damian Lewis, who was a pretty darn good defensive tackle in his own right when he was in the NFL as well. And that's Damian right there.
They may take another look at this last play, as I believe they called this a backwards pass recovered by the offense. Interesting. They were also wondering if Drones might have been down, and would they give Miami another sack. Either way, with 4 minutes to go, it's 4th down and a mile, and that's a guy that's been under siege all season when he's been throwing the ball.
You can see here he's trying to get that ball out to Jeffrey Overton. See Overton just leaking out. If somehow Drones is able to see him.
Now this ball does not travel backwards.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's amazing that he was able to get it off in the first place. And you just wonder if his knee was down on the ground.
He kind of threw it cross-armed, but I mean, obviously he threw the ball forward. So the question was his knee down?
Hard to see in there with the bodies underneath him. That was Wesley Bassane underneath him. Armando Blunt putting him on the ground.
And one way or the other, Miami is soon to get the ball back, you would think. And they will, I think, Lewis, when they get the ball back offensively, probably be in attack mode, trying to score 7 more points before the game's over.
Yeah, it would make sense if they are. The defense did its part. They're maybe just trying to look at that left leg. Does the knee hit the ground right there?
All right, so was the knee down? Here's the call.
After further review, the passer's hand was coming forward with control of the ball. The pass was incomplete. It's 4th down.
So they're going to say that Drones' knee wasn't down. And that is going to give Virginia Tech more of a makeable 4th down. It'll be 4th down and 11 rather than 4th and over 20.
And the offensive line going back out there on the field. So clearly they're going to try and go for this. Backup quarterback in the game, William Watson III.
Drones was definitely injured when he came off to the sideline after that last play. So tough spot for the backup, William Watson III. Pop Watson in for 4th down and 11.
You see Jason Taylor, the defensive line coach for the Hurricanes, over on the sideline looking as intense as ever. He wants his guys to hunt and get after this quarterback.
They may have to adjust the clock as well, because the clock was running after what they thought might have been a sack. And when they originally called it a backwards pass recovered on the field by the offense, kept the clock in motion, and we're all the way down to 4:01 to go. I think they have to put some time on the clock. Let's see. Maybe not. Not sure what that last conversation then was about, so it's 4th and 11. Redshirt sophomore William Watson in at quarterback. He's going to shoot one down the sideline. Catch made by Aiden Green. 1st and goal, Virginia Tech. Wow.
A little out and up by Aiden Green. You're going to see him there. He's just going to nod to the outside. He gets the corner. Damari Brown to just stutter his feet just for a second. And I'll tell you, William Watson got that ball off in the nick of time, because who was coming on his backside? I believe that was Akeem Mesidor, who had won and was about to get a sack.
Timeout called by Mario Cristobal before the snap.
Prior to the snap. Charge timeout. Miami. 30 seconds.
That is a great route by Aiden Green. Look at Akeem Mesidor at the top of the screen. Clearly gets held. Clearly. But what a nice throw and catch. Aiden Green is a nice wide receiver. You just see just how close that play was to getting blown up by a sack. But look at this nice route. Turns his head and makes him feel like he's going to run the speed out and then takes it upfield. Aiden Green came into this game tied for the team leading touchdown receptions with 3.
And the point we've been making all game with relation to Miami's ranking in the college football playoff, the outcome of this game is not in doubt. I mean, barring an absolute miracle, Miami's going to win the game, but how they win, by what margin, how much they control the game, all factors in as a bubble team for the 12-team playoff, whether or not at some point they'll move up in the rankings. Keeper, Watson, shoves his way to the goal line, in for a Virginia Tech touchdown. Second rushing touchdown of William Watson III's career. And with 3:17 to go, Virginia Tech a point away.
Is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 5, his first of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
So an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty will be enforced on the kickoff as Watson draws the flag, but John Love out for the point after to make this a 10-point game.
That's a heck of an individual effort by William Watson, aided by his right tackle Aiden Lynch, who just helps him get that final push over the goal line. You see, you're going to get motion, you're going to get a lead blocker, you're going to get a fake here, and then you're just going to get William Watson following the blockers, cuts up inside, and then right here you can see his right tackle Aiden Lynch just help getting him over the goal line. What a great look at it again from the ref. This is a great view. What was the ref looking at? The ref got fooled by the motion as well, by the pullers going the opposite way. You saw his head turn. That's such a cool look. That's such a cool point of view. That's what it looks like if you're playing linebacker right now for the Miami Hurricanes. And just look at that determination. They look like a football team that's quit, like a bunch of guys who are just scoreboard watching, trying to get the season over with. Absolutely not.
I saw Tomas Rimac.
Miami number 7 is now wearing number 82.
Tomas Rimac got that last push of Watson into the end zone. He's starting at right guard. He has started at every position on the offensive line this year except center. So talk about a guy who's kind of emblematic of not giving up on the year for Virginia Tech.
It sure is. And look, hat tip to that man right there on your screen in the white hat. Philip Montgomery. Clearly emotional in our meeting yesterday. This means something to him. He's a darn good football coach.
So trying to keep the game alive. An onside kick group out for Virginia Tech. The hands team in position for Miami. They fake it to one side, kick it to the other, and that's a jump ball. Virginia Tech, I think, has it. They got the exact bounce they needed. They do.
That's the bounce. That second hop, go up in the air, and then you just got to go take the ball off the top of the backboard. That is flawless execution and deception as far as executing the onside kick.
Is that Cole Ream-Snyder A backup tight end.
Receiving team number 1. That penalty is declined. First down, Virginia Tech.
It looked like Snyder was able to climb the ladder and pull it in.
That second hop, right there. You see Wesley Bassett, he can't time it up, and he has to stay grounded because he doesn't know when to jump. And then you're seeing it's like going up for a rebound in basketball. And as someone who has played on the front line of Hans' team, I can just tell you this: it's not fun. It's not fun. It is a lot of pressure trying to figure out where that ball's going to bounce, and knowing that you've got guys screaming down the field trying to beat you to the recovery. That's great execution on the part of Virginia Tech.
So now Pop Watson back to work after the touchdown on the last possession. And he will stumble and simply hurl the ball out to the right. Are they going to call that a fumble?
I think they are.
Chase Smith recovers. Miami's got the ball. Now, as ugly as the throw was, he did throw it, but did the ball travel backwards? Will this be a live ball? That was the call on the field.
You can see there, what is he? He's about the 29-yard line, 28-yard line. He's going right down the line, slightly crosses the 30. There's the knee down on the ground. So
after further discussion, the passer was down prior to releasing the pass. It's second down.
And that is the right call. So Virginia Tech will suffer a loss on the play, but they'll maintain possession with 3:04 to go. Miami now with 5 sacks.
But this is a nightmare scenario for Miami. This is exactly what you didn't want to happen.
So with Watson in the game, Chris, what's the story with Kyron Drones?
He is on the sideline with his helmet in his hand. I saw him go up to the athletic trainer, did not go into the tent. He said, I'm okay. He's got a helmet looking like he's ready to go in whenever his number is called.
Well, right now the hot hand would be Watson after the last touchdown, but he suffered a sack. Now he finds a crosser and Isaiah Spencer down the sideline. Isaiah Spencer knocked out of bounds finally at the Miami 30-yard line. They'll say he stepped out, I think, at the 33, but it's a 37-yard game.
So now Miami is kind of losing their attention to detail. That's just a shallow cross where the corner, Damari Brown, gets picked off by his own guy. And Spencer's off to the races.
High throw to the sideline, out of bounds from Watson as he airmails Snook Peterkin.
Phil Montgomery opted into this role with William Watson, who looks fired up to be in this game, man. I mean, if you're Miami defense right now, you've got to find a way to make something happen and get this ball away from Virginia Tech. And if you're Tech, you're sitting there going, hey.
That's a backwards pass. Aiden Green's going to take a shot at the end zone. Tipped. Incomplete. Flag out. They tried the trick play to Cameron Seldon. We'll have to check the penalty marker. There's a couple of them thrown inside the 5-yard line. They're going to call a push-off. An offensive pass interference on Cameron Seldon. He gave a shove, it looks like, down at about the 5-yard line.
The result of the play is an incomplete pass. Pass interference. Offense number 9. 15-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Bryce Fitzgerald was there in coverage.
I think they're going to say that as he was hand fighting with Ethan O'Connor, the corner. You see his hands. You see O'Connor. You see the arm get extended. And they're saying that he pushed O'Connor to the ground as Bryce Fitzgerald comes over and ultimately breaks up the pass.
They can certainly get into field goal range with the wind at their back without picking up a first down. That ball comes out, spiked to the ground. It's scooped up on the run by Zechariah Poyser. Was that arm coming forward, or was that ball out? It looks like they'll call that a fumble on the field.
Hakeem Mesidor is coming around the horn and finishing with the strip sack. Just what he was warming up with Jason Taylor doing all pregame. Arm goes back, not coming forward yet. That looks like that ball is out. You get a good look at it here. And that's just how you drill it.
The field of a fumble recovered by the defense is under further review.
Now, the moment that his hand starts to come forward, if he's got control of the ball, it would be an incomplete pass. Would you say he's got control at any split second there with his hand coming forward?
Oh, man, that is close. You got to zoom in on that one. I mean,
and they did call it a fumble on the field, so that sets the precedent.
Look at it here. Balls roll. Yeah, I think that's a fumble.
I think you're right.
That's a fumble. And that is another textbook rush by Hakeem Mesidor. The get off, the shoulder lean, flatten down the line of scrimmage, and then finishing with the strip sack. That's exactly like you teach it. The ball's coming out.
And you can see he was hunting the football. All right, Jerry McGinn, we've weighed in. What say you?
A big thing is that the ruling on the field.
Review, the ruling on the field is upheld. First down, Miami.
So, Jerry, they uphold the call. They call it a fumble. Your thoughts?
I totally agree. It is extremely close. The big thing is that the ruling on the field was a fumble, and they're going to have to stay with that because it is extremely too close. There's no indisputable video evidence to the contrary, so it's a good call by replay.
So Miami takes over. They get a takeaway north of the 2-minute timeout.
Now we'll see where Miami's coaches, where their mindset is right now by the plays that they call right here.
Well, all the starters are out there, and they get it to Malachi Tony. And that will take us down to the 2-minute timeout. The Canes by 10, 2 minutes to go. Trivia question. As James Franklin was literally shaking hands and kissing babies here at Lane Stadium since 2016. Their new head coach has 6 seasons with 10 or more wins. In that same time frame, how many times has Virginia Tech won 10 or more games? Because they're certainly hoping James Franklin has 10 wins in his future. What do you think?
I don't know. I was going to say
maybe
16.
None.
That's what I was thinking. None.
1 under Justin Fuente in 2016. So it's been a while.
Well, look, that man knows how to turn a program around. He's done it twice already. He understands team building, he understands recruiting. You have to build a tremendous staff. Exciting times here in Blacksburg.
Jet sweep on the end around Keelan Marion. Flags thrown in the secondary, and he's dropped well behind the line of scrimmage.
That's such a good play by Caleb Spencer. Such a good play. There you see the reason why he's the leading tackler on this football team.
It's a 6-yard loss. You'd have to think Phil Montgomery will decline the penalty.
Offense number 10. That penalty is declined. It's third down.
So now it's third down and 12.
The offense has elected, correction, the defense has elected to start the clock on the snap.
A reminder that Kentucky and Vanderbilt just underway over on ESPN2. So Diego Pavia and the Doors taking on Kentucky. We'll have that game for you as soon as we're done. But if you're looking for the start of Kentucky Vanderbilt, ESPN2, you can find it right now. Miami wants to pad the score if they can, but they will need a third down conversion here. Back right at the first down line to gain, delivers a strike to JoJo Trader. And he's got it, 14 yards.
Man, it's a good looking route too. Look, there's some good football still being played in this football game. And you're gonna see Beck, it's just all on time. Hits that back foot, surveys the field. JoJo Trader running the curl on the outside. Just look at this. Drive him off. Make him open his hips. Sink your hips down. Come out of the break. May have grabbed the face mask there and threw the DB on the ground. Clean catch. Get the hand out. Turn into a runner immediately. Yeah, he did. He could have got golfed for face mask. He grabbed Brown Murray's face mask and threw him to the ground.
Shamar Brown. 3 yards. And a timeout called
Guard timeout
by Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. Third second of the half. It will be 30 seconds.
This afternoon on ABC and the ESPN app. Set to get underway. Arkansas and Texas. As we still have a doubleheader in the SEC over on ABC. So after Arkansas, Texas, it'll be the Swamp for Florida, Tennessee. Kicking now, and then later on tonight, SEC on ABC doubleheader. Carson Beck now over 300 yards passing, 25 of 30, 301 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And again, the second most accurate passer in college football coming into today. #1 in the ACC in completion percentage. No Miami quarterback has ever been over 70%. And Carson Beck's way over 70% at this point. So he'll set a completion percentage record for the U if he keeps it there through next week.
He has been on it today with his decision-making, movement in the pocket, various different throws. He has been on the money.
Jump cut to the backfield for Shamar Brown. He gets a push about 1.5 yards short of the first down. And another timeout called by Virginia Tech. Well, you said Carson Beck, Lewis, has been on it. Let's take a look.
Yeah, he has shown you just about everything. Full field reads, throws over the middle that time, just hitting Elijah Lofton, getting outside the pocket here, making a nice accurate pass to Mark Fletcher Jr. And then here on the rail route to the freshman Gerard Pringle, which was set up perfectly. And as you see here, the keys to victory for Miami: no pre-snap penalties, only 2 on the day, a false start and delay of game. That's pretty good. Allow less than 100 yards rushing. Virginia Tech did that. They really did, bring the fight to the Miami offense defensively. Offense, 4 plays of 20-plus yards. They've had 6. They've completed some nice passes down the field offensively. Just haven't been able to score enough points. And then for Miami's defense, dominate on first down. 26 plays, 210 yards, 8.1 average. Look, you got to tip your cap to this Virginia Tech football team. We've been saying it all game long. They have come here for a fight and for a football game. But Miami has struggled to really dominate this team in a way that would leave no doubt as to the fact that they were a far superior football team. And just taking it a step further, this conversation about who gets into the playoffs and where the rankings ultimately end up, it's just gotten even more interesting now with this game.
Malachi Toney came up short. And Mario Cristobal looks like he's going to let the clock wind all the way down. Maybe call a timeout and try a field goal. I'm almost surprised on 4th down they're not throwing one to the end zone.
So am I. I mean, look, I understand. Like, Mario talked to us about this. Like, how does he weigh the, like,
it's hard.
How does he balance trying to impress the committee while at the same time doing right by his players and protecting his players? He doesn't want to put them in harm's way. The game's not in doubt anymore. And quite honestly, he feels that in the end, that head-to-head with Notre Dame should mean something. And that's what I'm telling you. It's going to be interesting to hear the committee's explanations for where they ultimately rank these football teams over the next 2 weeks. And they are going to get asked questions in particular about this team relative to Utah, relative to Notre Dame as this season finishes out.
And next week, we've got all those rivalry games in college football. And strange things seem to happen sometimes in rivalry games, and they do leave their offense on the field. So 4th down and short, Carson Beck still in the shotgun. And he's going to throw. And he is going to take a shot. He's going to loft one. Jump ball in the end zone. Malachi Toney. He's got the touchdown.
That's a beautiful throw. It's a beautiful throw. And there it is, right there. That justifies everything that we're talking about. You see him just go up over top.
Wow.
Of the corner, Isaiah Brown-Murray. The reason why they throw that ball, and the reason why they're trying to score more points, is for the very thing we've been talking about all game long. There it is. So for anyone who thinks, hey, we're just sitting here trying to cheer for the Hurricanes, no, we're telling you the scenario that they are thinking about over there on their sideline.
And now they're doubling up Virginia Tech. 4th touchdown pass of the day for Carson Beck.
This kid's going to be just so good. Just watch him here. Just stutters him a little. Takes that left hand, tries to get the offhand jam off of him, and then now it's just about being an athlete. It's about going up, timing the... Just watch the stutter and go, and watch his left hand. Watch the subtleness of his left hand to get that right hand off of him right there. Just to get clean, get some separation, and then time up the jump as the DB can't get his head around. He's got such a great future ahead of him.
So Malachi Toney, not an accident. They're trying to get him the ball as much as possible. By the way, toss in another completion as well. Through the air, 146 yards and a touchdown. They've given the ball to him on the jet sweep several times. He's got 16 yards rushing and another completion for the 2nd consecutive week. PJ Prelo lets this one land in the end zone. Now Vanderbilt and Kentucky moments away here on ESPN, already underway over on ESPN2. For Clark Lee, an 8-2 record so far this season. It's been a while since they've been at the top of the standings, 14th of the playoff rankings, and visiting the AP top 10 for the first time since 1947, about 2/3 of the way through this season. They're going to want their resume to look as good as possible and maybe win with style points against Kentucky today if they can.
It's that time of year. It's that time of year. I mean, that's the playmaker.
So PJ Prelo picks up about 12 yards on what ought to be the final play of the game. And that is going to be the final play. The clock stopping with the first down, but Philip Montgomery already walking his team off the sideline, telling the officials, roll the clock. And the final score will be 34-17. Miami and Mario Cristobal get another win. Will they take in any way a step further in the college football playoff rankings? We'll find out on Tuesday. For Lewis Riddick and Chris Button, I'm Bob Wischusen. Thanks so much for watching. So long from Blacksburg. Get ready for Kentucky Vanderbilt.